Oh, hey, bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Can you hear me now? Because now I had to go and hook it up to the actual mic because for some reason it took me out of it. So I'm like sitting there asking her, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" Y'all sitting there talking about some goddamn what y'all ate. Nobody don't care. Okay, now that my mood has subsided, now we get back into the show. I'm like, damn, do I get to do that whole fucking topic over? I am so annoyed. So basically, I'm mad because I did that whole Wicked video and none of y'all heard what I said. Basically, to sum it all up, we don't need no more damn Wicked. It was cute for what it was. Nobody cares about expanding beyond this universe, but I definitely want to hear from y'all if y'all care enough that they're gonna make another one or expand beyond the universe. So that whole first topic was scrapped. That's fine, whatever. Because I ain't doing that shit again. Um, because there was a lot that I said. So now let's move on and get into our next topic. Anyway, let me stop being a bitch. Okay, so let me hit the banner again. This has been very entertaining, messy beginning of the first 20 minutes of this show was a hot mess, and that's what is being brought to you by a hot mess. So let's get into our next topic. And hold on, what's the people saying? You said I want John M. Chu to get along with the Britney biopic. I don't know if we even getting that at this point because I'm sitting there like, what's going on with that damn movie? He hasn't told us whether or not we're going to be getting the film. Well, he said that the movie's in the works, but then when they ask him about it, he looks everywhere but in the person's eye. So I think that the movie is dead. They just don't have the balls to tell us. Just tell us, or just make the shit anyway. Because Britney crazy ass, she won't even know what the hell y'all doing over there until it comes out. No, no shade but shade. So let's get into Miss Scarlett Johansson, who is where it just came out yesterday that she will be starring in Mike Flanagan's Exorcist remake. Because we all remember what happened with that Exorcist Believer movie. That movie was trash. So we haven't gotten a good movie since Exorcist 3. Because there's only two movies that I acknowledge in the Exorcist franchise. The original Friedkin movie that came out way before I was born. And everybody told about that's the scariest movie of all time. I'm sure it was back then. But when you watch it now, it's not that damn scary. But I guess because we've been overly spoiled with so many things that we've seen in movies. And then I have a soft spot for Exorcist 3. We don't acknowledge The Heretic, but Exorcist 3 is definitely a classic. It is a film that I feel like doesn't get a lot of love that it should be getting. But I do feel like it's in like big heart aficionados, they have a soft spot for that film. So after the disaster that was Exorcist Believer, excuse me, now we have Mike Flanagan taking over the franchise because it was butchered by freaking David Gordon Green and Daniel McBride, who don't even get me started on what they did with Halloween post 2018. But so they're writing, well, Mike Flanagan, I should say, is writing, directing, and producing the newest installment, which has been described as a radical new take on the property. The original Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin, follows a mother, played by Ellen Bernstein, who hires two Catholic priests to perform an exorcism on her demonically possessed 12-year-old daughter, played by Linda Blair. Released in 1973, the film was a critical and commercial hit with 441 million globally, in addition to 10 Oscar nominations. Now, they said, quote, Scarlett is a brilliant actress whose captivating performances always feel grounded in real, from genre films to summer blockbusters, and I couldn't be happier to have her join this Exorcist film, said Mike Flanagan, best known for One of my favorite movies, Doctor Sleep. I actually like the expanded version, the 3 hour one, versus the original theatrical release. And he also directed The Life of Chuck. He's done a bunch of other things. And he also has the upcoming Carrie TV series coming out. Now, Universal shelled out a staggering, which I believe y'all overpaid, $400 million in 2021 to buy the rights for a new Exorcist trilogy. However, the studio failed to launch a franchise with the first attempt, which will be 2023's The Exorcist Believer. That film, which brought back Bernstein as Chris McNeil as well as several new characters, earned 136 million at the global box office, which is decent, but not enough to spark interest in sequels. Well, how would that be considered decent, knowing that The X is probably like a smaller budgeted movie, unless y'all paid a shit ton to make that movie? Now, the upcoming Exorcist will be set in the same universe as the 1973 film and isn't a sequel to Believer. Beyond that, plot details and additional cast members haven't been confirmed. Filming will take place in New York City. Well, you want to know something that actually makes sense because even though New York kind of has has evolved in visually on how it looks, there's still a lot of old buildings and things that are New York that kind of gives you that whole vintage New York look. So it makes sense that they'll shoot it here. And um it kind of makes me think that they kind of have like were they inspired by Rosemary's Baby? Because Rosemary's Baby was also filmed in New York. So if it kind of has like that vibe of somebody who lives in an apartment building, a high rise or something or another, and then there's a demonic possession or something like that, and you got Scarlett Johansson, which wouldn't be hard to stick her in like a 70s wig and some bell bottoms or whatever the case is, and she can kind of have that look. So it's not that hard to embody the whole 70s look, especially in New York. So you can kind of get away with that out here. Now, they said Johansson recently helped revive another major franchise for Universal with this summer's Jurassic World Rebirth, which generated 868 million globally. An Oscar nominee for Marriage Story and Jojo Rabbit. Johansson made her directorial debut earlier this year with Eleanor the Great, a feel good dramedy starring June Squibb. Well, I don't know if anybody saw that, but and then the whole thing about Jurassic World Rebirth. Well, I do like Scarlett, and I love her as Black Widow and all other stuff. We all know the reason why people went to go see Jurassic World. It was the damn dinosaurs. It had nothing to do with her. I mean, maybe she was the icing on the cake. I mean, I liked her in the movie, even though y'all didn't really do much with her. I felt like Mahershala Ali was much more engaging in this film, and Jonathan Bailey was more engaging in the film, whereas Scarlett Johansson I felt like was underused. Like if she was going to do Black Widow and things like that, you should have her doing more action in this film. But we all went to go see even though the movie, in my opinion, was god awful. Jurassic World, in my opinion, it was about the dinosaurs. So as a fan of The Exorcist, I told you the first one and the third one, because the third one is just such a weird, off the rails, bonkers movie. Um, I'm definitely curious to see because, like I said, I'm a big Mike Flanagan fan. I'm definitely curious to see not only what he's going to do with his iteration of The Exorcist, if he can capture that creepy, slow burning tone that the original had, even though it's going to be in the same year of the original movie, 1973. I'm also looking forward to his version of Carrie and all the other things that he has coming out. And also, I'm looking forward to his Clayface because he wrote the script for that. He didn't direct it, but he wrote the script for Clayface for the DCU. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And as I said before, if you ever checked out any of Mike Flanagan's work, definitely check it out because Doctor Sleep was a great movie. Even though I don't think it did well financially, but now every time I show people that movie, they absolutely loved the film. So, and I showed them the unrated director's cut, not the which is the 3 hour longer one, versus the theatrical release. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you here for Scarlett Johansson starring in a new Exorcist movie? I don't think I've ever seen her star in a horror movie. Oh wait, she did play like a alien succubus in a film once, so she has done horror ish. But seeing her in something like this, like a classic take on an original, like not original IP, but like a iconic IP, it'll be interesting to see how she pulls this off because I do think that Scarlett Johansson's a good actress. She just needs to be utilized more and stuff. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Well, Felix says they could do a movie with oh wait. Well, I did read the Britney one. He said they could do a movie for each book. There's three more books, so they could do a movie for each book. Well, yeah, that was like if they're gonna do that, then that'll be fine. But we'll just have to see if people care to want to see the film once it's, you know, because Hollywood they're all about um how much money their things are gonna make, and if they don't care, um if the money isn't there, people aren't gonna go see the films the way that they saw Wicked and Wicked for Good. Then they'll be like, okay, now we realize that nobody cares about these franchises that we hit lightning in the bottle with the thing. Sometimes with Hollywood, they have to learn the hard way. Is that when you have to let them know, okay, so I guess they didn't want to see it, or I guess they didn't want to expanded universe. But this is y'all being greedy, and a lot of times y'all greed overshadows your judgment. But if they want to start something where they base it off all the other books, they're gonna have a lot of work cut out for them because they're trying to convince people to be like, okay, these are books from that whole Wicked universe, and this is why you need to see this film because Elphaba's not going to be in it, and Glinda's not going to be in it, but it's these new stories based in that whole world, and will people be interested? Like I said earlier when my mic wasn't on, apparently, you know, when it what was it? John Wick when they did Ballerina, and then they also did the Continental. They created this world within this world, which we like the world building that they made, but I didn't particularly care for the Continental. I didn't think it was a good show. It was 3 90-minute movies. I didn't think they were good. Some of the action sequences was good, but overall the story was trash. I didn't like that they based it around a young Winston. I just didn't like that whole idea behind that, but that's the direction they decided to go in. The Hughes brothers directed it. I just don't feel like their direction was all that great. And I like the Hughes brothers. Um, then they made Ballerina. Ballerina was a great movie. I had a good time with that film. I own it. I've watched it so many times. Under the Armours, I thought did a phenomenal job. I thought the action sequences was pretty cool, and I liked the world building they were doing with that, with the Ruska Roma, and you had like these other cult people that were just animals, you know. So I liked that whole world they were building and all this other stuff. The problem was people didn't care to go to the movies and see it. So while John Wick, people like him, I don't know if they care about anybody within that universe getting their own spinoffs. Same thing why I feel like with Wicked. People like Wicked, but I don't know if they care enough about expanding the universe or getting to know new characters. Onyx says so many remakes. I'm sick of it. Scarlett Johansson, I'm not sick of. Well, yeah, I'm sick of the remakes too, but here's the thing. They are making original movies. There's lots of original movies that have come out this year. People are not going to the movies to see it. Um, and there's a lot of movies that have come out this year that it's just like not doing well at the box office. So it's like they get dropped on streaming, and then when they do go into movies, nobody's watching it. So but then when they make something that we're already familiar with, like now they well, where they make all these different movies that we grew up watching, they're remaking everything. We got a Gremlins 3 finally coming, all these other things. Then it's like they nostalgia bait. People are focusing on that. Then that's the only way that things get made. So it's like y'all people, not you, but I'm just saying in general, people complain that there's no original stuff. And then when we get the original stuff, y'all not watching it. But the familiar stuff that you grew up with, people are watching those. So it's like Hollywood is only going where the money goes. If the money, whatever makes money, that's the way they follow, or that's how they follow. I'm already taken out of the horror, and it is. Shut up. You said, isn't there a remake coming of the? Wait, what? Isn't there a remake coming of the original? No, I don't think so. I think this is um The Exorcist. But they're trying to I don't know what I don't even know what to call it. I just think it's just an Exorcist movie within that universe, but it's not a remake of the original movie, if that makes sense. No, I don't think she's a scream queen, but she can do horror. Scream queen, in my opinion, is somebody who's done a multitude of horror movies. Like, for instance, Nev Campbell. Nev Campbell I would consider a scream queen. When you look at someone like Jamie Lee Curtis, that's a scream queen because she started doing a plethora of horror movies before she expanded over doing like Trading Places and True Lies and so many other films. But in the beginning of her career, she was always doing Those. Oh yeah, I did see that. They added Doctor Sleep to Netflix, but I think it's the theatrical version. I don't think it's the 3 hour uncut version that I have. There's one specific scene I hate in that film, and that's when they did poor Jacob Tremblay. When that boy had the shining, and then you had evil ass Rebecca Ferguson and all them people sucking that the shining out of him. I ain't like that. I was like, why is it that Stephen King movies they always harming children? That seems to be an ongoing thing. With it, and then you got this other thing. And funny enough, when I was watching Welcome to Derry, I knew the black guy with the shining was the old black guy in the shining. The guy that has the shining. I knew he was the old man that was in the shining that Jack Torrance, kills with the axe. I knew that I was like looking at him like, I bet you that's the guy from the shining. And it was. There's a lot of callbacks to a lot of characters who we get to see them when in their younger years versus when they're older. But just like Mrs. Kirsch is from the It Chapter 2. When I mentioned, and I didn't even reckon, I was looking at her for the longest, the actress that plays, and I'm like, why does she look familiar? Then it was like Madeline Stowe. I was like, now I remember why she looked familiar. She looks different because she's older and has some work done. As when I mentioned the other 3 books, I was talking about the Wicked series. Yeah, I figured there was that's what you was referring to. But it's like the question remains, will people care outside of, Wicked and Wicked for Good? Because people don't read, well, most people don't read. The second book is about Elphaba having a son. The third one is about the story of the Cowardly Lion. Yeah. And they actually have a Narnia movie coming out, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Um, Greta Gerwig is doing it, and it's supposed to be coming out next year. Netflix is doing it. It's supposed to be in IMAX before it comes to Netflix. It was a whole drama behind that. But anyway, and yeah, that was. Did not see a comment about. Oh, you said before we could hear you, almost looked like you was. Oh yeah, I was getting annoyed because they were like, um, "Tell him he can't hear him, can't hear it, can't hear." I was like, 50 people saying the same thing is not going to change the fact that the sound is not coming in. So, um, then I'm just sitting there like, okay, can you hear me now? Like, let me know if you can hear me instead of repeating the same damn thing over and over. That's where the frustration comes in. And so now it's finally situated. We can move on and get back into the show, which would be what is the next comment? Not comment, the next story that we're gonna do up on this messy show. As I forget to take out the previous comment. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Let's talk about Part of the Badlands. So Part of the Badlands apparently has it's moving at a steady stride at the box office. And I guess word of mouth and everything is helping the movie chuckle along. And then there was a story that we did yesterday when we were talking about Wicked for Good, where they were pretty much stating that, excuse me, um, that it's going to have a long trek ahead of itself in order to break even and to be considered a success. But I think they should take their time with this film because I feel like, you know, there's other ways that the movies can make money, not just theatrically. There's streaming, then there's also digital downloads and things of that nature. There's also merch. There's so many other ways that Predator Badlands can recoup that money in due time. But I do think that this is a franchise that should be it's like, in my opinion, a slow cooker type situation. Just marinate it, keep adding a little seasoning, marinate the gumbo, and then when it's ready, open up the pot and eat it. So I think this is something that we need to just give a slow, you know, situation to. What they always say. I was gonna say, what is the old phrase? In regards of what was it, like the little tortoise wins the race or something or another? I can't remember. But anyway, let's get into the article. So, according to Fangoria, shout out to them, they said even though pretty much everyone's attention was on Wicked for Good and its blockbuster 226 million global opening, which included a whopping 150 million in North America, there were other movies to watch in theaters over the weekend. One such movie is director Dan Trachtenberg's Predator Badlands, which has been met with much acclaim up to this point. That acclaim has helped push it past the 150 million mark, meaning it has surpassed one of the biggest horror movies of the summer. Badlands added another 6.2 million domestically in its third weekend, good enough for third place behind Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which brought in 9.1 million. Internationally, the latest entry in the Predator franchise took in an additional 7.2 million. That brings the new running total to 159 million worldwide, surpassing director Danny Boyle's 28 years later, which took in just over 150 million over the summer, 151.3 million to be more exact. And another thing, speaking of 28 years later, we have The Bone Temple, which is the sequel, coming out in January. Because when I went to go see, um, what did I go see? Sisu, Road to Vengeance, they showed the trailer before the film. Also, I think when I went to go see Predator Badlands, that they actually showed that they also showed that movie there as well. They showed the trailer for that. So I'm like, the Bone Temple, it looks interesting. It's a little, it seems like a little weird, a little bonkers. But the question remains, do people care enough to want to see that movie when it comes out? Because I know like the feeling on 28 years later was mixed. I like the overall story of the father and the son and him trying to like, this is like a rite of passage is to become like going from a boy to a man while we go out and we actually go and kill like certain different versions of like there's certain different tiers of the zombies. You stay away from the alpha. The alphas are crazy. They rip your head off for your body and all that other so there was interesting concepts in the film. There was this certain cinematic choices that I in particular like, particularly when it came to the bow and arrow sequences when he would kill some of the zombies and it would kind of like do this freeze frame and do a 360 spin. I didn't like those shot choices. So that kind of took me out in some sort of situation in some of the film. And there were parts of the movie that I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm not really here for it." But overall, I do applaud Danny Boyle for, pushing the boundaries in regards of giving us something fresh and different regarding the whole zombie franchise. Because how many times can you come up with a new idea regarding zombies or whatever? So they said one key difference why Predator Badlands is doing well financially is because of its PG-13 rating, which people had a problem with thinking, oh, the movie's gonna suck because it's PG-13, and y'all always think just because it's got a certain rating that determines whether or not a movie's gonna be good. We've seen Predator movies that have an R rating that were terrible. So just because it's PG-13, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that a rating determines whether or not a movie is going to be good. That's just the ratings board coming to a conclusion of why they want to give these ratings, why they want to give the ratings that they give. So yes, when you have something that's PG-13, it's no one under the age of 13 can be allowed in without a parent or an adult. So kids who are 13 and up can go see this film. Or if your brother is 13, 14 or whatever, or 15 or 13 and up, and you have a younger brother who's like 8 or 9 and they want to see the movie, the 13-year-old, and up can go and take that 9-year-old to go see the movie because he is technically going to be the guardian of that time, if that makes sense. So 28 Years Later was rated R. So, of course, you do have an R-rated movie. There is a lot of restrictions. As a kid, you can't go and see that movie unless you sneak in. But if you sneak it in, that is not going to count because you didn't purchase a ticket. You basically just snuck in the theater to watch a movie that you ain't supposed to be watching. So the financial stuff is not going to be able to count towards that. So if you buy a ticket, then they can count it. So another difference they said is what the movies cost to make, as Disney spent a sizable 105 million to produce Trachtenberg's follow-up to Prey and Predator: Killer of Killers. Sony, meanwhile, spent 60 million on Boyle's long-awaited zombie sequel, so it's all relative. And 105 million dollars for a movie where it looked pretty expensive. Um, I definitely see why they were able to recoup the amount of money faster. So the film, as y'all probably are not aware, it centers on a young Yautja named Dek, played by Demetrius Schuster Kolamatanji, who is cast out from his clan. He finds himself on a dangerous planet, seeking redemption with the help of a damaged android named Thea, played by Elle Fanning. They embark on a treacherous journey in search of the ultimate adversary. Now, looking at the bigger picture, Badlands still has a long way to go before reaching outright profitability in theaters. It will probably need to land somewhere between 250 to 300 million worldwide to be considered an unqualified hit. That seems a little unlikely at this point, but it's going to do well enough to make money in the long run. Once VOD, streaming, Blu-ray merch, and other revenue is factored in, Disney could probably look at it as an investment in a franchise they very much want to keep alive, and especially in light of how well it's been received. Which is what I said, because yeah, the people are loving the film. There's been great word of mouth, but maybe some people are willing to wait until it comes out on digital and watch it at home. I'm sure they'll be able to make more money that way. And who knows, down the road they'll probably want to buy merch and stuff based off of it. So I do think that Disney would be smart to invest in this franchise, because it is sort of like got a cult following for now, but it has the potential to be a success if they stick with it. Because Alien Romulus did well. We have a sequel coming out, and I'm really hoping, based off the way that they kind of planted the seeds, that we can get a. And I know that Dan has teased this. I hope that well, I will say, in addition, I do hope the sequel to Predator Badlands gets made, because I kind of like the way they set up the ending for a possible sequel. But also, I want a really good Alien versus Predator movie, and I would like him to kind of take that situation off, because if you ever introduce Wayland Yutani into the world of Predator, then, and it was also, I believe, introduced to some extent in Prey Killer with Killers, I do feel that that is a world that needs to be explored, and we need to get a proper AVP movie out here in the world. So shout out to them. I just wanted to clarify this, because this is something we talked about yesterday, but that was a way to expand on this story. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? You excited, or you surprised to hear the Predator Badlands has passed 28 years later at the box office, and the reasons behind that, saying because it was rated PG-13 versus 20 years later is rated R, and you only get a limited amount of people unless you can get an adult to take you into the theater that can take you to see something like 28 years later versus Predator Badlands. You can reach a much larger audience with a PG-13 rating. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our next topic, and let's talk about 50 Cent. So we've been talking about for months and months and months, since Diddy was on trial and that whole mess was going on before we even got the sentence laid down, which we already know the sentence. We don't need to recap. But 50 Cent was over on social media trolling the whole time about, I'm going to make a docu-series based off of the Diddler. And I think a lot of people thought he was in his little trolling bag and all this other stuff that was going on with that. Well, it looks like he wasn't trolling at all, because 50 Cent has finally come out and revealed today a release date for his Diddy docu-series, which I'm kind of mad that he didn't call it Diddy Do It. I thought that was the perfect opportunity to call it Diddy Do It, not Sean Combs The Reckoning. So 50 Cent's much talked about Netflix docuseries about Sean the Diddler Combs has set its official title, Sean Combs The Reckoning, and will premiere on December 2nd. So that's literally next week. So they said, you can't, quote, you can't continue to keep hurting people and nothing ever happens. This is what Mark Curry is heard saying, in a short teaser for the series. It's just a matter of time. Well, I always say that. Karma will always come to collect. It may not come today, it may not come tomorrow, but eventually she's going to come to collect. Now, 50 Cent, child, we already know what his real damn name is, and Combs have long been rivals. Jackson taunted Combs on social media throughout his criminal trial, where Combs was convicted of transportation, engaged in prostitution, and acquitted of more serious sex trafficking and racketeering charges. In October, Combs was sentenced to 50 months in prison, and he is expected to be released in May of 2028. Oh yeah, it was, because I forgot. I think it was supposed to be March, and then they prolonged it to 2 months, and they were saying it was due to him doing dumb stuff behind the scenes in the prison. Now, per the official synopsis, the series is a staggering examination of the media mogul, music legend, and convicted offender. Born of an insatiable drive for stardom and a knack for spotting talent, Combs made a quick ascent through the ranks of the music industry with Bad Boy Entertainment and was crucial in bringing hip hop to the pop masses and launching the careers of dozens of generation defining artists like the Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, and Danity Kane. But along the way, and as detailed by his former associates, childhood friends, artists, and employees, something darker began to color his ambitions through explosive, never before seen materials, including exclusive interviews with those formerly in his orbit. This documentary tells a story of a powerful, enterprising man and the gilded empire he built and the underworld that lay just beneath the surface. Now, just so y'all know, it's only 4 parts. So we can, I guess, get in and out with this whole situation. Whereas I believe when I watched, there was a docu series on Diddy that was on HBO Max. I believe that was 5 parts. They were 5 hour long episodes, and it was pretty much intriguing. All the things that I began to learn and stuff about the Diddler, but I feel like in this situation, will we learn anything new? And I guess the only way to find out is by watching the series, which I am going to do. Because at first I was like, I don't know. I feel like I've learned all I needed to know about Diddy. But at this point, 50 Cent, and you already know with 50 Cent, I hope he's going to kind of give a more nuanced look behind the Diddler and not come at it from being a messy butch queen. Because that's what literally Diddy gives me. I mean, not Diddy, 50 Cent gives me with a lot of his antics. You give me Closet of Butch Queen tees. Like this is a lot of these antics, the trolling, the shade, and all that other stuff that you be doing on social media. So I'll be watching, and hopefully you coming at it from a real producer standpoint and not just trying to be messy. So yeah, they said Sean Combs' The Reckoning was directed by Alexandria Stapleton. Executive producers include Jackson Stapleton, Stacy Scripter, and David Carabinas. A lot of these names in here, I don't think y'all care, so we don't need to continue to read on with that. But I will say this: I didn't see the trailer, I didn't watch it. I just saw like there was a big announcement or whatever. So I don't know exactly like if we're gonna get anything of. I mean, there's first of all, when you look at the teaser, it's nothing. It just basically says produced by Curtis Jackson, all this other stuff, and it comes out in December. Like, there's nothing. There was nothing set up where it's like we get people who were interviewed and like the whole Barbara Walters setup that you always see from the documentaries or the docuseries. There was no real trailer behind it, so it was like a little teaser. So I guess what Netflix want us to do is they don't want us to see anything. They just want us to come out here and report it, and then we just watch it when it comes out, and then we'll all end up talking about it next week. So I definitely want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this story? Are y'all here for another docuseries about the Diddler? Will you be watching? Do you not care? I definitely want to know what your overall thoughts on this is. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Said 50 been waiting for this. Of course he has. Did you hear Funky got that? No, I did not. I remember he went in to the doctor's office yesterday and he said that he was gonna well, no, he said he was he had a he said announced on the show yesterday that he was gonna bring it up today on the show, whether or not, the diagnosis. He said, I'm already preparing myself. I'm expecting the worst. I'm expecting to have it. And I was like, stop calling that negative energy into your life. And here's the thing, the normal age that you're supposed to get your prostate checked for cancer or whatever is 45. He's 42, so, or 41. So that's relatively young. And that's why I always say, like, that whole 45 shit, get your prostate checked. Speaking of which, I need to get mine checked because I'm around that age. So I need to set up an appointment and be checked out or whatever, because it's like, yeah, like it seems like younger and younger people are getting diseases that you would expect to get at a much older age. And that's crazy because I like Funky Dineva. Um he has a gift of gab. He's very funny. Good morning. He be saying that, and that's a girl and all that stuff. So yeah, he's thoroughly entertaining. And I like how far he's come. in regards of his career and stuff, and how he manifested a lot of things and has happened. But no, I didn't hear about that. I'm guessing he announce that on his in on any of his social medias, or did he do a show, an early show, and we just now finding out about it? Because I'm sure, like tonight, if I would have checked out the show, I would have heard about it. But yeah, condolences to him. Hopefully, well, hopefully it's in an early detection stage, and he will have that dealt with, and so then he doesn't have to, have a short shelf life. Because prostate cancer is a slow build. Like if you can't, like if you wind up getting in your 40s, and you'll probably end up leaving the earth in your 60s. So it's a slow burn. Felix says, I did have a friend who died from prostate cancer when he was like 38. That's why I said it's like it gets you younger and younger. So I don't agree with the whole when you have to be 45 years old to get checked. Get checked while you're young. And I don't know, I've noticed something. There's a whole new look in regards of, like, I'm looking at the way y'all the comments and stuff is coming in. I'm actually liking this because now I feel like I could see a lot. Like, especially if I put in a long sentence or whatever, it's not covering my face. I did do a little changing of things up in here though earlier. But yeah, shout out to Funky. I'm sure there'll be some people happy about him being sick or whatever, but I don't like calling that kind of negativity in my life. But anyway, let's move on and get back into the show. And let's talk about Rush Hour 4. So apparently we're getting a Rush Hour 4, and I guess we could thank Trump for it. And now, with me saying all this, y'all actually believe that, like I said before, that Trump has stake in the whole Paramount situation, and that the David Ellison, he's in bed with all of them, and people just like I guess people feel like I just be talking out of my ass about stuff because I see the thing before it's gonna happen, and lo and behold, now I seem to be correct. Per usual. So, Rush Hour 4 apparently is in the works, with Paramount on board to distribute the newest installment in the Buddy Cop series. The long-gestating sequel is reportedly the beneficiary of some Oval Office intervention. President Donald Trump has personally requested that the studio revive the franchise, as first reported by Semaphore. First of all, shouldn't you be worrying about trying to run the country, at least in the right direction, instead of into the shitter? You sit up here worrying about a damn movie about a Rush Hour movie. But here's where it comes in, where I think, okay, so what this has to do with, I don't even think he cares about the movie. He cares about the person who directed the last three movies, because Brett Ratner is attached to the Trumps. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I'll tell you, everything is always connected to this man and his big ass ego. So Brett Ratner, who directed the first three installments before his career was derailed in 2017 by hashtag Me Too allegations, is returning to direct the fourth film. Now, the filmmaker has gotten close to the first family while directing the Melania documentary, which Amazon paid $40 million to release. Now, where's that movie? And the question remains, I want it to come out because I want to see how well it does. And I guarantee you nobody cares. So unless you're gonna give a tutorial on how to be the world's richest prostitute outside of Heidi Fleiss or what she was doing back in the day, she was a madam. She wasn't really a prostitute, but you know what I'm saying. Then we don't care about her documentary. So, Rush Hour 4 will see the return of original stars Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, and will mark Ratner's first feature film since 2014's Dwayne Johnson-led Hercules. Who saw that movie? Brett Ratner, I don't think is like one of the best directors. Okay, yeah, he was like BFS with Mariah and directed a lot of her music videos back in the day, among others. And he's directed a couple of movies. He ruined X-Men 3. But that movie is what it is. So now, they also went on to say Paramount will be paid a flat distribution fee to release Rush Hour 4 theatrically, according to sources, and won't be on the hook to market or finance the film. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers, whose New Line label backed the original 1998 Rush Hour and the sequels in 2001 and 2007, will get first dollar gross, meaning the studio receives a percentage of box office revenues before the financiers recoup any costs. Multiple distributors were approached after Warner Brothers let the director and producers shop the new Rush Hour around town, but none wanted to be attached due to Ratner's involvement. Now, of course, because of Donald Trump loves he loves the poorly educated. He loves rapists. He's pardoned enough of them in his second term, um, and all these other things. So why would you be surprised that this is a movie he wants to get made because of what he did with Melania or whatever? And all you got to do is blow smoke of Trump's ass. He is easily bought. He's a cheap date. Like, literally, like, you could blow smoke up that man behind, and he's all for, oh, he's your best friend until you piss him off. So he's bipolar in that way. He loves you today and hates you in like 12 hours. So there's that. So of course now he wants this movie made because it's sort of like a vanity project, I guess, for Brett Ratner to keep getting work, and because he gave David Ellison the solid and the go ahead, whereas like he provided him the way to buy Paramount Plus, which honestly I feel like you need to focus on trying to turn Paramount Plus into something before you even try to throw in your financial hat to buy Warner Brothers. Like, can you at least try to work that out? You haven't even had Paramount Plus or Paramount for 6 months. Now you trying to buy up something else? We see what this is. But because we got a bunch of corrupt people in government, a lot of these oligarchs are gonna be able to do whatever the hell they want to do, and we in the end are gonna end up being screwed. Because quiet as it's kept, as much as I like Chris Tucker and as much as I like Jackie Chan, do we really need a new Rush Hour movie? I mean, I feel like Rush Hour 4 should have came out maybe 10, 15 years ago, not today. I mean, I know like it takes a long time for some, like when we looked at Top Gun Maverick. That movie came out like what? Damn near 30 years later, or if not 30 years later, and it was a good movie. So unless they got a really good idea festering, then I'll be here to want to see it. But I feel like at this point, I mean, Jackie Chan still does his martial arts and stuff, but he's old. And then Chris Tucker is like, chill. Ain't nobody checking for Chris Tucker in 2025. Well, at least I'm not. So then they said, yeah. So the original Rush Hour, which follows two police officers who were forced to work together to rescue a Chinese diplomat's abducted daughter, was a huge hit with 244 million globally. The two follow-up films, Rush Hour 2 and Rush Hour 3, were even bigger commercial successes with 347 million and 258 million, respectively. Well, if you look at that last number, it fell off. So people weren't really liking part 3, but it did well enough that I guess they're like, you know what, it was still a success. Now, despite mixed reviews in that whole situation, now, in the time since those films dominated in theaters, comedies have mostly fallen out of favor at the box office. It's unclear the timeline of Rush Hour 4, though Chan, whose martial artistry was central to the hijinks of the plot. Y'all got to realize, first of all, Jackie Chan is 71. So at 71, we all know like Asian people, y'all be on some other whole nother plane when it comes to how y'all still be out here doing your martial arts at y'all big ages. But at 71, could Jackie Chan still do these crazy ass stunts and y'all gotta worry about not possibly breaking a bone? Cause he's from the school of we don't put in doubles and things like I get in there and I do all the crazy stunts because that's what they did in China when they made a lot of those. So that's why I think like we like those movies versus in America, they're all about stunt doubles and insurance companies. They don't want to, allow unless you're Tom Cruise to be doing these crazy stunts. So Paramount, which was recently acquired by Skydance, they definitely, in my opinion, needs new films to populate its slate. The company has a goal of moving from its current 8 annual releases to 15 by 2026, 17 by 2027, and 18 by 2028. Paramount's new chairman and CEO, David Ellison, is the son of Larry Ellison, one of the Trump's most prominent financial supporters. Trump has publicly praised Ellison's leadership of the media company. So when I tell y'all that this is political and people sit up here thinking I'm just talking out of my ass and I don't know what I'm talking about, it's like y'all can try to shine the turd any which way that you want to shine it, but at the end of the day, it's still a turd. And what I've been saying is the fact that yes, this is all politically motivated. The fact that all of a sudden, why is the Ellisons or David Ellison trying to buy up so many studios and trying to influence what we watch? It's like when I watch movies, it should be like I'm a movie fan first. It's not about me trying to push an agenda of what type of movies I want to see. And then when you have certain administrations that want to get rid of any kind of diversity in cinema, I mean in politics or even in regular working jobs, you don't think that's going to trickle down in the entertainment industry? There's been enough complaints as it is pre-Trump getting into office that Hollywood so white, lacking diversity, a lot of stories revolving different races, sexual orientations, genders, whatever you want to call it, is not being told. And how many stories we gonna have to sit and watch regarding white people getting in films, or that certain movies get made and there's an agenda behind it? Because like we can't just get something made because, oh, you know what? Here's an old IP that we really need to revive. That some people still that may still have a little juice left in the carton. Let's revive Rush Hour. No, they're reviving it because of Brett Ratner, and Brett Ratner is connected to making a Melania documentary. So that's the only reason why, when you read between the lines, why this movie is getting made, and the fact that this man has been ostracized and pretty much an outcast because of the allegations of being an inappropriate prick in Hollywood. No studio would touch it, but because Trump gonna be like, "Oh, look, I did you that solid and let you buy Paramount Plus. I cut through all the red tape. You was able to get it. Possibility you might get Warner Brothers. You got to do me this favor, all because this guy made this documentary for my wife, and I want to give him some like he should get a job or something." So that's what this is. It's some nepotism type shit. So, excuse me. I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you even care about us getting a Rush Hour 4? Or do you see through the BS like I do as the reason why this movie is getting made? So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, I say, oh, Daniel Barris says, "Hey everyone, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Hello, fake. Oh, hello, folks. I was gonna say hello, fags. Hello, folks. That's what I meant to say." He said, "Magical Mermaids in the building." He might be. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Patriot Watcher says that Chris is on the Epstein list. And the question remains, would they even want to come back and do this movie? But we'll see. But I'm sure they will. Ellison has money to burn. Techno tax injustice. We the people will vote with our money. Yeah, and we'll see if people care. Now, I'm sure he could because he has martial arts experience. Not Breaky Chan. Apple should be bought. I should have bought Warner Brothers. But then again, I used to work out the UFC gym, so but that's completely different type of training versus what he does. Apple should have bought Warner Brothers. That would have been the best move to make them a dominant force. I wish that Apple would have kind of done that. It's so that we'll let you kind of do whatever it is that you do. We'll provide you the backing to distribute your films, kind of like what they did with F1. And F1 was a huge hit. So that's what they should have did. I don't like the idea of David Ellison trying to get their hands on Warner Brothers. It's like, can you at least try to figure out what you're doing over there at Paramount before you try to buy up something else? And one person should not own a bunch of conglomerates. It's the same thing I say about the entertainment industry as a whole, especially like when you have Clear Channel, all these other people. Why is it that three conglomerates own like all of media? It should be spread out. Warner Bros. Hasn't done badly this year, especially with Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca being in there, and then David Zaslav is running Warner Brothers. So they haven't been doing bad. So I don't understand why they're selling. But I heard when they were under the AT&T umbrella, AT&T was screwing up financially over there. But anyway, let's move on from Rush Hour 4 and let's talk about Cher. So apparently, speaking of Netflix, as we did earlier, it looks like Cher is about to broker a deal to spill tea on her life as we wait for the second half of her memoir. Um, she's thinking about doing, well, they said the deal is already pretty much done. It may happen sometime in 2026 that she is going to be doing a docu-series based on her life. So she's gone through two high-profile marriages, had stellar careers in both music and film, and lived one of the most colorful lives in showbiz. Now superstar Cher is ready to open up about the story of her life and career for the very first time on camera. I've been told, well, this is the Sun who's saying this. I've been told the Believe singer is in advanced stages. of talks with Netflix about her own tell-all series. Now, Cher's series is being called Sharing Her Story and will be made up of 7 hour-long episodes. Here's the thing, which they spelled the Sharing, her story. I'm like, no, y'all need to gay it up a little bit. It needs to be Chering, sharing her story. Like, pun on words, play with the like. Do I need to come like be a part of the marketing team? Because I was like, that would work in this whole, yeah, it's corny or whatever the case is, but it kind of works with the whole situation, the puns and all that other stuff. So now they said it is being tipped to air in 2026 alongside the second part of the star's delayed memoir. A source said, quote, Cher has been in talks with Netflix for months and finally the deal is as good as done. They have agreed to a 7 part series which will delve into the highs and lows of her life. It is said to be worth £13 million, about $17 million American, and the project is tentatively called, as I said, Sharing Her Story. Now, last November, Cher, who has sold more than 100 million records worldwide, released the first installment of her 2 part memoir after signing a deal with HarperCollins. It gave a warts and all account of the star's rocky upbringing with her relationship with her abusive ex-husband, Sonny Bono, one half of the 60s pop group Sonny and Cher. Now, speaking at London's Lyceum Theatre in support of the release, Cher, who is also married to musician Greg Allman, admitted her next album will be her last. The superstar said, "This is probably my last album I'm going to do. I'm really excited. There are great songs that I'm really excited that I'm doing. And I'm really excited that I'm doing it. I'm really excited to be doing anything now." Cher, who's 79, laughed. "I'm older than dirt now, okay?" Well, you still look good. And she said, "I'm the oldest person I meet in almost every room unless I'm at an old folks home." Now, Bizarre previously revealed that Cher was in talks to play the Hollow Legends slot at Glastonbury, but sadly nothing came of it. With a major TV series and book penciled in for the end of 2026, I wouldn't rule out seeing Cher at Worthy Farm in 2027. Well, I'm sure she'll probably headline somewhere. And then also, she's supposed to be doing SNL with, who is it? With Ariana Grande, I believe. I don't know when that's supposed to be. I think that's supposed to be sometime next month. But yeah, she's supposed to be doing that. But I'd be here for this. I definitely think, even though I haven't read the memoir, I think it would be interesting for her to kind of take the same approach that Charlie Sheen did, which was he did a documentary based off of documentary docuseries based off of his book, and then came out with the book. So you get twofold. You get to read it and you get to see him talk about what happened in his private life and the drugs and everything else that came with that. Same thing with Cher. I definitely think that people will be very enlightened to want to see her story play out in documentary or docu-series form. Just like we still waiting for that one with Ardanta. That's supposed to be coming out with Sean Levy. He's supposed to be working on that. I don't know when that's supposed to happen, but he is in talks of doing a Madonna docu series that's supposed to be coming out, or something on something in the form of a series with her. I don't know if it's gonna be a docu series. I don't know if it's gonna be scripted. I don't know if it's the biopic that's gonna be in like 7, 8 parts or whatever. I don't know, but I definitely think that Cher is warranted for having something like this, and I definitely check it out when once it's done and it becomes available on Netflix, hopefully sometime in 2026. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Would you all be here for a Cher docu-series on Netflix? I definitely want to hear from you all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Viral tweet with 60K likes about Billy's tour concluding yesterday. She was touring. Yikes. He's on Billie Eilish. Yeah, she's still been touring this Hit Me Hard and Slow Up tour. She's been touring that for a long time. It also came out yesterday that it will be released theatrically next year in 3D, and it was directed by James Cameron. So I don't know if y'all heard that, but yeah, Billie Eilish has her tour is going to be coming. I was like, was that the same tour that I worked like a year ago? Believe it is. So yeah, you'll be able to see that in theaters, but everybody's kind of jumping on that whole theatrical concert bandwagon. It's like we had Taylor Swift do it, not Cher. Taylor Swift did it, Beyonce did it, Usher did it. Who else? Um, Now we got Billie Eilish. Depeche Mode came out with a movie. I wanted to see it, but then they wouldn't count it get with my A list. They wanted me to pay the actual $28 for IMAX. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'll wait till it's released else in a different type of platform, and then I'll watch it then. But I wasn't paying damn near $30 to go see a Depeche Mode theatrical IMAX movie. 7 episodes would be good because each episode could be about each decade of her career. Yeah, that would make sense. Same thing like I was saying about Madonna. Um, you need each episode to focus on a lot of her career, so it'll probably be like 5 or 6 episodes. Because she's been doing this for almost 5 decades. She's almost 80. She just wants to live her life. Yeah, and I heard that um her boo thing, the guy that she's dating, Alexander Edwards, is producing a new album. SNL is the weekend before Chris. Oh, okay. So, okay, Queen, get the coins. Wait, hold on. He said, I read the first book. She really ain't spilling any new tea. Okay. Sabrina's tour concluded last week, and that made more noise than Billy's tour and Chapel's tour she's currently on. She's really the pop supreme right now, especially for Gen Z. And I told y'all, I was so bored with that Sabrina tour. But yeah, it's kind of like the only time I did hear about Billy, and I totally forgot that she was on tour, but then I was reminded when that incident happened where she was down, like giving high fives and everybody to the, like kind of doing like whole hand wave or whatever in the audience. And then that guy went and pulled her in. And then I think the guy got beat up by the people that was in the crowd. And security, of course, reacted slow as they normally do. It's like with Ariana Grande getting manhandled, security moving slow, and then Billie Eilish. I'm like, well, goddamn, do y'all be paying attention? Y'all need to be on guard every time y'all with these celebrities or dealing with like when I'm working, y'all don't realize how tense I be when I'm working. I do not relax at all. Like I'm always having to be alert, looking around, paying attention, making sure whatever's going on. Some people get so relaxed and thinking like they at home, oh yeah, I'm gonna just watch this, do it. Like I'm even though I am technically watching the shows and stuff, I'm also paying attention to what the guests or the people in there are doing because that's part of the job. You 30%, you're watching the show, and the rest you need to be paying attention to what's going on in your surroundings. A lot of people don't think that way. They think they're at work to just have fun. They said, I love Sabrina's tour. The only time I heard of Billy's tour is when she got snatched. Only time I heard of Olivia's tour is when she fell in that hole on stage. She hasn't really been Olivia has been really been torn. I believe she's been working on the music that's supposed to come out in 2026. But for the most part, Olivia's kind of been underground. Like we haven't really been hearing from her. Okay, you said she was grabbed in Miami. Yeah, I didn't know where she was grabbed. All right, so I got some good news for some of y'all that like All's Fair. It's been renewed for a second season over at Hulu. Because I'm like, Shell, who liked this damn show? Because, well, I'll have to be honest, I haven't seen it. So I don't know if the show sucks or not. I just know that they said the ratings have been good, even though a lot of people, I think it's at 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. At first it was 0%. But for now, they're saying like because of it's a ratings juggernaut is getting a season two. But here's the thing: what are y'all comparing it to? Because quiet as it's kept, how many original programmings has Hulu created that people are actually out here watching it? I just think with all the controversy and everything surrounding it, where it's got that it's so bad. I just want to watch a train wreck to see what all the fuss is about. I think that's where it's coming from. And now that it's such a bad show and a train wreck, people are just like, you know what? I'm sucked in. I just gotta see like where's this going. It's like watching anything made by Tyler Perry, if you think about it. Speaking of which, it's kind of like I've always said Ryan Murphy is like the white homosexual version of Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry is basically the black homosexual version of Tyler Perry. So now let's get into the story. So the streamer has picked All's Fair for a second season. Shout out to the Hollywood Reporter for this, with the renewal coming 3 weeks after its premiere. The series, co-created and executive produced by Ryan Murphy, has performed well for Hulu so far in the face of overwhelmingly negative reviews, with more than one calling the show the worst of the year. Despite, or maybe in part because of, those reviews, All's Fair had a strong launch on Hulu, recording 3.2 million views, calculated as total viewing minutes provided by running time worldwide in the first 3 days following its November 4th premiere. Hulu says that the best part for an original scripted series on the platform in 3 years. Nielsen's U.S. streaming ratings for the show's premiere week won't be out until early December. Why is it taking so long with Nielsen? I always thought Nielsen comes out weekly, but why are we going to wait till December to find out what those numbers are? So now the audience response to All's Fair has been somewhat kinder based on ratings at the biggest review aggregators. Rotten Tomatoes has the show with a generally favorable 66% approval from viewers. Metacritic viewers, have been harsher, but its user score of 2.5 out of 10 is still a little better than the average 17 out of 100 or 1.7 out of 10. Now, stars Kim Kardashian as Alora Grant, a high-powered divorce lawyer in Los Angeles whose firm specializes in winning big settlements for their female clients. The star-studded cast also includes Naomi Watts, Niecy Nash-Betts, Tiana Taylor, Matthew Noska, Sarah Paulson, and Glenn Close. And it's funny how she's a divorce lawyer, but she can't figure out that her own damn husband is out here creeping with Tiana Taylor behind her back. That's in the show. So, the show comes from the 20th century, where Murphy is based. Murphy, John Robin Bates, and Joe Bacon created the series, blah, blah, so on and so forth. She's also an executive producer on it as well with her mother, Kris Jenner, and a bunch of other people. So, um, oh yeah, and then they said Kardashian, Close, Watts, Nash Betts, and Paulson also executive produced. So with all these people behind this, and look, Halle Berry, if you would have stayed on, you would have had your show would have had a second season. You would have had a recurring gig. But I guess some people out here have standards. So Halle Berry's like, I got other things that I can be making coins on. Because remember, I don't know if y'all know, but she was originally supposed to be a part of the show until she bailed based off of, I think she was just like, it was scheduling conflicts. That's what they say in Hollywood, scheduling conflicts. So yeah, whether people like the show or not, or whether critics, love or hate the show, they mostly teeter on the hate part. But whether you agree or whether you're with it or not, it looks like we're going to get a second season of All's Fair, and you're getting a lot more Kim Kardashian on your screens, even though we stopped keeping up with her ass on that reality show eons ago, and Hulu's still trying to shove that family down our throat. At least they still keeping the momentum going with this vanity project that she got going on over there at All's Fair. And we already did the story about Glenn Close throwing that little subtle shade about her. And she showed up on time and she knew her lines, blah, blah, blah. And she knows she's not, I said, she knows she's not Meryl Streep. Quiet as it's kept, she knows she's not Tika Sumpter. But she came up there and she gives what she gives. And she's giving you pretty much, I remember my lines, but I'm going to give you Kim Kardashian, which is stiff, wooden, void of personality. And I'm going to just be pretty. And that's going to be enough. And clearly, it just goes to show that her money can buy her a part in Hollywood because the show has just been giving her a second season instead of them just putting this show out of its damn misery while they were ahead. But like I said, maybe because, all the bad reviews, y'all helped this show become a hit. If y'all didn't review it, if y'all didn't even give energy to it, it probably would have flopped and it could have went away like a wet fart in the wind. But here we are. Now we got a second season. There's this mess coming. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Are you excited that All's Fair is coming back for a second season? Will you be checking out the second season, like you've been checking out the first? So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. I was like, hold on. Hold on, because this damn video that I got coming up, I had to fix something before I get to that. So I had to prepare for the next topic. But now let's get into what the comments and stuff is saying. Well, they made all the actresses producers, so they aren't getting paid up front. Oop. Billy and Olivia are going to be Gen Z for the parents, not the actual audience. Oh, because of the type of music that they do. I mean, there was a lot of kids that was at both shows, and there was some older people that were there when I worked Billy and Olivia's show. Well, I worked Olivia did like 4 nights at the Garden. I did 3 out of the 4. So, um, they they have like a mixture. It was mostly little girls there, mostly kids. There's some boys were there too, and there was some older people there, very like a handful that came by themselves. And I was sitting there like, oh, look at these people of a certain age is actually fans of this music. But I guess it's because like I said, music knows no age, right? Tons of homosexuals love it, but then again, gays today stand. Okay, no Oscar winners on that show. Sorry about that, Glenn, but well, if it was TV, it would be Emmys. You said many other big. Oh, I guess you're talking about because Halle Berry, Oscar winner. She's no longer part of the show. Many other biggest stars never get nominated for awards, so entertainment can come in many forms. And plus, on top of that, you know what? One thing I will give Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy definitely loves to give women of a certain age opportunities, whereas there's a lot of ageism in Hollywood. So I do applaud the fact that he will give a lot of people who kind of get put out the pasture based due to ageism roles and opportunities. It's just sad that the roles come at a place of these scripts ain't great, but and also I know like what's her name? Glenn Close is in that new Hunger Games movie. I saw the trailer the other day. I'm like, damn, why they gave her these big old teeth in her mouth? But I definitely am. That new Hunger Games movie does look interesting. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to some Housewives news. And let's talk about Kandi Burruss. So yesterday we talked a bit about Kandi Burruss revealing that she filed for divorce of 11 years from her soon-to-be ex-husband, Todd Tucker. So now she went over there on her Speak On It, and she spoke out about their splitation after somebody, I guess, sent in a comment about their splitting up. And so she went and shout out to Neighborhood Talk because they had the clips. So there's like a couple of clips here. We're gonna play what she had to say, and then we will come back and talk some more. So please
To be
hold.
very honest with you, I am up and down. Um, obviously going through a divorce is definitely not the easiest thing. Sometimes you're cool. You know what I mean. You're moving, you're mixing, you're moving, and you're hanging out with friends. But then sometimes you have your moments of sadness. I am up and down. And to be clear, yes, I filed Friday, but this is something that has been brewing for a while. So all the times you've been seeing me online, like all of that means nothing. I've been going through it, child. I've been going through it. Life has been lifing me. I'm going to be very honest. It's kind of hard sometimes when you see all the stuff online, and it's just everybody is making their own narrative of what's going on, and you sometimes I'll be wanting to comment, but then I'm like, no. So I'm all over the place. Tanya says, I'm so sorry to hear this. You guys look so good together. Thank you. But what I will say is, Todd and I were together our marriage lasted 11 years. We was together like 14. We got 2 wonderful, beautiful children. I have no regrets. Okay. So, sometimes things don't work out, and it just is what it is. It's Speak On It with Mama Joyce, please. Oh, no. My mama does not need to be on Speak On It right now. My mother has been very peaceful and happy. I'm not bringing her to come speak on it because she might speak too much. Speak On It with Mama Joyce, please.
So basically, yeah. So at this point, it's like, yeah, I agree. Don't put Mama Joyce on there because, as I said yesterday, Mama Joyce is probably doing that church dance. That look at God, won't he do? Already know she up in there dancing in the streets on hot coals, barefoot, over the fact that Kandi and Todd is getting a divorce. And I don't understand somebody like a parent especially that sits and wallows in the misery of wanting a child to be unhappy. It's like, girl, go out and get you some dick and stop worrying about your own child. But at the end of the day, Kandi is always going to come up for her mother. She's not going to tell her mother about herself. But sometimes you got to put, and as much as I love my parents, sometimes you got to put them in their place. If you really love that person, they got to allow you to have your shit with that person that they're in a relationship with. So I just hate the fact that us looking at this, it just comes across like we're giving, or not even, or maybe it is us. We're giving, or they're giving Mama Joyce the satisfaction of Kandi once again being single, because divorce is, it's not that easy to be dealing with that thing. But that's good. Like she said, yeah, they were together 15 years, damn near. They were married 11 years. I sacrifice. They was married 11 years, and she not gonna cry. She not gonna shed no tears. Hey, Mary. But it did sound like you was on the verge of tears when you was talking. So I do feel bad that it's like, you know what, relationship didn't work out, but I always look at things, a reason and a season. Like, I don't always expect things to last forever. Me, if, when relationships would dissipate, it's like, okay, it is what it is. We fought that good fight. We held on as much as we could, but sometimes things last for the way they last, and you can't just let that deter you from how you gonna live your life. But she said that she needed, her peace and all this other stuff. So I'm sure there was things going on in the marriage that she doesn't want to spill and let us know about. But let's read some of the comments over the neighborhood tour since we use them as a reference. One person said, I'm sorry, but her mama was too involved in her marriage, whether he was an opportunist or not. Keep your parents out of your union. Well, it's kind of hard to do that when you're on a reality show and you want to incorporate them in it. Now, if Joyce had a man, she wouldn't have been so focused, did I say that? On Candy's man. Joyce was the first marital issue they had. I said what I said, and I'm not changing. All right, Nene, you're not changing it. A mother being happy while her child is going through it tells you a lot. Another person said, divorce Mama Joyce next. Another person said, heartbreak is painful. Prayers to Kandi. Another person said, a mother always knows. Mama Joyce seen his intentions a mile away. And another person said, watching the life you built fall apart is an unreal experience. Mad love to her and to him, especially when you see that she was smiling while knowing she wasn't happy. And it probably was that she was willing to keep up with the marriage to not give. Maybe that was why she stood in it for so long, to not give her mother the satisfaction of saying you was right. But then again, with that other, going back to that other story and comment that somebody went and said, a mother always knows. Mama Joy's been seen his intentions a mile away. We don't know why they're getting a divorce. We don't know the reason what is going on with them unless Candy comes out and says something, and Todd comes out and says something, or somebody who's in the circle knows. But I feel like the only people who truly know what goes on up in somebody's situation would be Candy and Todd. And until they come out and say the reason why they're getting a divorce, or whatever the case is, then we got to stop the speculation. We got to stop sitting out here spreading rumors regarding, oh, he was out cheating or he was doing this. He was doing, you don't know what kind of arrangement they had in their marriage. I mean, quiet as it's kept, I've heard stories that they had an open marriage. And if that was working for y'all, that's y'all business. Not everybody can work the way people do their marriage how they do their marriage. But like I said before, unless Candy is going to come out and tell us the real reason behind her marriage, and I don't think she is, I think she's going to give us just enough, and that's gonna be enough. But until she want to come out and really spill the tea, then we just gonna have to take her word for what it is. So shout out to you, Candy. Hopefully that you move on to greener pastures, and um I feel like you did this with class and dignity. Like, she didn't really throw Todd under the bus. I actually hope that with the divorce that it could be amicable and that it won't be like Kim and Croy messy. Like, we don't need something like that. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story and what Candy had to say on her speak on it regarding her parting ways with her husband of 11 years, Todd Tucker? So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Do you think the reviews was bad just because of Kim Kardashian? don't know, because I do feel like there's a certain bias towards Kim Kardashian, and rightfully so, because they're like, here's this influencer who has no formidable talent. She can't sing, she can't dance, she can't act, and she's always trying to assert herself in these places of people who actually came up in the trenches and took years of training, whether it's Juilliard or you're like doing Shakespearean type of acting, or you went to Uta Hagen or whatever the case, is. And here this girl comes in and she's using her money to develop projects and cast herself in the roles or whatever. So it's hard to kind of tell where the bias comes from. I feel like the only way that I could probably tell if maybe there's a bias there is due to Kim being a part of it, is I have to watch the show. Because then I'm like, okay, so now the real reason behind the ride, I feel like they're going hard on the show, is because the show is actually pretty bad. That the acting, I mean, not even the acting, it is like the writing is terrible, or the people that's behind the front, like the dialogue, the writing, everything is just so bad on this thing. And you have real seasoned actors like a Naomi Watts, a Glenn Close, a Niecy Nash Betts, all these other people were coming in trying to make something out of this travesty, but they can. There's people out here who the writing could be so bad in a movie, but they're always good in it. And it's like I came, I showed up, I did what I had to do, and I left. But then you watching Kim be her little wooden stiff self, like how she be acting in real life, no kind of emotion. And that's what you bring into this part. So it's like you literally playing yourself. You're not even acting, you just delivering your lines, but you delivering it stiff. So I don't know. I have to watch the show to come to that conclusion, because it could be, I'm sure there are some people that are coming at it from a biased standpoint because Kim is in it. But I can't say for sure because I haven't watched the show. He said, "Oh, by the way, don't forget to stay on top of the streaming deals this holiday week for folks on a." Huh, that's the problem. See, the problem is I don't know if I'll be able to get those because I haven't seen those deals, especially like with Stars and all these other ones. But the problem is I'm already a subscriber to majority of these streaming services, so I don't think I'll be able to capitalize on those deals. So, um, y'all might be able to, but I don't think I can because you know me. And now I just heard, because I thought about doing that story, but Supernatural is leaving Netflix next month. And I've been rewatching the franchise. It's going to Peacock and it's going to uh Prime Video. So since it's gonna be a part of Prime Video, I could watch it there because there's no commercials. Peacock is the only streaming service that I'm paying for that has ads. And they're about to raise the prices on that. And I'm not ready to change the tier yet because Peacock doesn't really have much stuff on there that I care to watch. So I'm gonna still pay the minimum price with the ads until y'all revive and rejudge what's going on over there. The good thing is Kandi can't hold water. So yeah, eventually it's gonna come out. Okay. Oh, because I was singing "Not Gonna Cry." The door is closed. Okay. Well, look, we did talk about yesterday the idea behind. I don't know if I post. I think I did post it on the channel as a separate segment. We talked about it yesterday. The door is open for Nene to come back to the Housewives of Atlanta. The show plainly was way too much. The show plainly has way too much Botox. I feel like, oh, you talking about the Housewives of Atlanta? Yeah, I don't know what them ladies is doing. And I feel like, first of all, y'all got melanin in y'all skin. Y'all don't need to be out here looking like a black blowfish. What are y'all doing? Why are black people getting all this crazy shit put in their face? All topic, a clip of a press interview for ST is going viral because Kayla made fun of Zionist Snap for crying a lot on set with a limp wrist gesture that people are calling, uh-uh, Caleb, you better not be being a phobic. You better not be out here doing the gay slur situation. I need to check that out. Cause I'm like, you trying to call him soft, I mean, or gay or whatever. I'm like, duh, he is a homosexual. So how else is he supposed to act? And if he's sensitive, that's just him. Now, I don't particularly care for Miss Limp Wrist because she a Zionist queen. And I don't like Zionists. So um but still the limp wrist thing, especially when when there was a story that came out that you want to go on Drag Race. Oh no, sir. You can't be doing that and trying to get on RuPaul's Drag Race because you're gonna be dealing with a lot of limp wrist queens when you sitting there judging them when you sitting next to one of the biggest lip wrist queens in all of the industry, Mama Ru. So you better clean this up. HBO Max $3 for one. Jesus. And I do have Roku. Well, damn, I wish I could get the $3, but I do the bundle with HBO Max, Disney Plus, and Hulu. I do the bundle with that, which is cost me 32 fucking dollars a month. I kind of wish that I would have, if I would have known, I would have capitalized on that. But I wonder why they're doing that because of Welcome to Dairy. I mean, I'm already watching the show. I'm all caught up. Stonegate says she not worth the money. Well, you talking about Nene? I'll tag you in it. He also mocked Snap's overly flamboyant surprise. Look, let's not do that, especially when there's such a stigma already about Black people having a disdain for the gays. So that's not even like a good look for you. You just do mostly YouTube. Might as well pay for it. It's hard for me to like current TV. They think we all lack intelligence and need to be dumbed down. Well, that is true, and it's funny because I pay all these streaming services, and why is it I pay for all these streaming services, right? But I spend more time watching YouTube videos than actual regular streaming stuff. That's the crazy part. And I'd be so annoyed with all the damn ads that be in YouTube. I'm like, God, another fucking ad. So I get kind of annoyed. But I think the problem is with the overall complaint about wanting to purchase YouTube is the price. $70, $80 for YouTube. So that's the only thing. But you saying that they think we all lack intelligence and need to be dumbed down. What are you talking about? Oh, it's about a regular network television versus on YouTube. Um, you already know. I don't watch regular news. I watch like a lot of YouTubers or people who used to be a part of the media that have now gone independent. Speaking of which, one of the reasons why I was late because I got my damn schedule for next month, child. I was so scared to look because there's so many events that's going on in December. One thing I'm actually happy about is they gave me Christmas off. So I'm actually happy about that because last year I worked the Knicks game during Christmas. So I'm like, oh yeah, I get Christmas off this year. Yay. But I'm working New Year's, which I'm kind of upset about because I wanted to see Robin in Brooklyn, but I can't. Now I'm working Fish, which on one hand, I worked it last year. I'm not that mad because it actually I get 10 extra points towards my bonus. And that bonus was good this year that I got from working at the garden. So I don't mind working only because it'll help me get to my bonus a lot faster next season. So that's the only reason why I'm not that upset that I'm working New Year's. You said I renewed Netflix today in anticipation for tomorrow. Wait, is it come out tomorrow? Speaking of which, I just came across this article on Bloody Disgusting and the Duffer Brothers because I was sitting there thinking, like, damn, I don't want to watch the whole series over just to get refreshed for this upcoming season. They revealed 4 episodes that y'all need to watch in order, 4 key episodes to watch to revisit ahead of the premiere. They said season 2, episode 4, Will the Wise. We got to watch that one. Season 2, episode 6, The Spy. Season 4, episode 7, The Massacre at Hawkins Lab. And season 4, episode 9, The Piggyback. So those are the 4 episodes Stranger Things fans need to watch. 2 episodes from season 2, 2 episodes from season 4 in order for you to kind of like that plays a crucial part in the upcoming season. When I heard that, I was like, okay, I might actually watch that. I might actually I might have to rewatch those episodes just so I can refresh my brain. And since it's coming out tomorrow, I think I might spend Thanksgiving catching up and watching the episodes. So we'll see about that. Now, after Thanksgiving is when it's going to get busy for me because I'm doing double shifts. So it's going to be a crazy weekend. Well, you said tomorrow at 8 p.m., so I don't have to wake up at 3 in the morning to watch it. Speaking of which, I got to rewatch Dragonland. I don't know why I've tortured myself. Every time it'd be like 2:30 in the morning, I'd be like, hey, I forgot new episode of Dragula. I put it on and I fall asleep. This happens every week, and my crazy ass continues to do the definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And I keep doing it, thinking the situation's gonna change. It's like, Chris, your brain is your brain. You're gonna fall asleep 2, 3 o'clock in the morning thinking you're gonna try to stay up, and it's that. I'll definitely be watching those 4 episodes, but I'm also currently watching Gilmore Girls, and I just started season 3 today. You in this obsession with Gilmore Girls. I live for it though. You said I pay $13.99 plus tax for YouTube Premium. You're talking about YouTube TV, which is cable TV. YouTube Premium is different. You get YouTube Premium and YouTube Music too. Okay, so that's what it is that I need to focus on is YouTube Premium, not YouTube TV. So if I get YouTube Premium and it's $13.99, what does that mean? That basically I'm just paying for YouTube with no ads? Yeah, because I don't need YouTube TV. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get into some more Bravo news. Let's talk about this, man. So apparently Kathy Griffin spilled some tea about Andy Cohen because Andy Cohen spilled tea about her first. So what had happened was Andy Cohen went over there at BravoCon and spilled some personal tea about Kathy Griffin, saying that he reached out to her or that they had an email exchange and that sort of thing. And she decided to get on the social media and reveal what happened. I was like, where the hell is the photo? Okay, I found it as I was stalling. Okay, so now earlier this month, Cohen told the crowd at the Bravo fan convention in Las Vegas that he and Griffin had emailed the other day, adding of the possibility of making amends following a years-long feud. Saying never say never. Well, that feud started because your thieving ass, your no talent having behind, but because you are Mr. Executive behind the scenes, you was able to pull this little stunt and you stole her New Year's Eve job that she had with your little bestie that you never got to fuck. It's kind of like, you want to know something? Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper remind me of Brian Kenny and not Justin, because him and Justin fuck, but Brian Kenny and Michael Novotny from Queer as Folk, where it's like, y'all were two gay best friends that tried to do the fornication dance. Y'all tried to do the yum yum bouncy bouncy, but it never happened. And so you still waiting to get, as Justin said in season 1, you still waiting to get jerked off. So that's literally what this whole situation with them two are. And that's what Andy and Anderson give me. But Anderson ain't never gonna let you jerk him off. So you just still sitting waiting in the wings, opining for that moment to happen. Now, you went and pulled a highway robbery and you stole her job, and then she was ostracized and all this other mess, and that's when the whole feudation started. So now he want to sit up here and try to act like I want to make bygones be bygones. Child, child. First of all, this is not the whole Nene getting back in the good graces of Bravo. This feels a lot deeper than what's going on with that, because that's the ultimate betrayal. But I guess some people would call it, that's not ultimate betrayal. It's show business. Welcome to it. So now the comedian, who's 65, was admittedly shocked to receive the email and hear the TV personality mention it publicly. She said, quote, Andy Cohen was my boss at Bravo, and he was, in my opinion, a difficult boss. This is what she said during a stand-up show in Los Angeles on Saturday, according to Just Jared. Quote, I really tried to do a good job at Bravo, and I had a great time there. I kind of helped build the channel, which she actually did with her My Life on the D List, where her show started from 2005 to 2010. It was that they had Queer Eye. They had a bunch of shows on there at the time. So in a way, and she did help build that channel into what it is. Griffin went on to share that out of the blue last week, she got an email from Andy Cohen for the first time in 8 years. She said the email came through around 10 p.m. and was sort of nice, theorizing that he vetted it with lawyers, knowing she would likely read it on stage. Griffin told the audience that Cohen, who's 57, was civil but didn't really apologize. Well, why would he? That queen never takes responsibility for the shit he does. Instead, he allegedly hit her with something along the lines of sorry, not sorry. And I would have emailed, you could take this email and shove it square up your ass. Now, you claim you were top, but you're going to have to make an exception with this email, because you're not going to come at me with no sorry, not sorry shit. The actress then said she wrote him back very quickly and was kind of emotional, though she didn't specify what she replied. Well, Kathy, I need you to not be the bigger person in this situation. Any other time, you be so quick to get on the line and spill the tea and tell us your little back and forth crazy encounters with celebrities. This would have been the perfect time for you to tell us what the hell you wrote. Because, like I told you, I already said less than 2 minutes ago what I would have replied back with if you came at me with some goddamn sorry, not sorry. However, she explained to attendees, I thought I don't really need to be in any more beefs. I've been in so many effing beefs with so many people. Not only did Griffin acknowledge that Cohen is a powerful guy, which is why they won't remove him of his rank at Bravo, especially with all the allegations that has come out against him over the years. Excuse me, but she also confessed allegedly, I'll say allegedly, but all the other stuff with him. I wish I were back at Bravo. It was a fun place to work and it was a great place to do specials and all that stuff. But after hearing Cohen bring up their email exchange at BravoCon, Griffin thought to herself, hold on, girl. You emailed me for the first time in 8 years after effing doing me dirty and taking my job, as I said, as co-host of CNN's New Year's Eve special with Anderson Cooper, and fire me from Bravo, but okay. Now, Griffin's career reputation took major hits after she posed for photos, as y'all know, holding a fake decapitated head of President Trump. Now, though Griffin doesn't want to have beef with Cohen, she lamented that his disclosure of their private conversation did hurt, as did her whole experience with him. Because what that feels like, in a way, is that that's gaslighting. It's like, why'd you hit me up after 8 years? I done put this shit behind me. I done moved on. I'm sitting out here still. Now I'm having a career renaissance after so many things I've been through. Losing my mother. I think didn't she have like throat cancer or something or another? There was like something that was going on with her where she lost her voice over the years and took her years to get her voice back. And then there's been so many things that she's been dealing with. I think she also said that she had a drug downward spiral, and she was always somebody who was like, I never drank, I never did drugs, and everything stuff. And then there was like a thing that where she went hardcore into like this downward spiral. And so now she's finally got her life back on track. Here this queen come because there's no more housewives you could torment. So you had to go and sit now. Oh, I just woke up one morning. I just decided I'm going to send an email to Kathy Griffin about what, why, like for why? Why are you sending me some shit? Like I don't like you. You over there, you stole my job. You doing what you doing. I'm over here building my stuff. I don't want to be kikiing with you. Just like shout out to all of y'all that are still dropping comments in my video that I did with Andy Cohen consistently every time somebody talk and ask him. He keeps bringing up why Madonna will not go on Watch What Happens Live. Everybody was in the comments like, we don't want him going on that girl. We don't want her going on his show. He messy. That was what everybody said. Hence why I intentionally put in quotes "messy queen" in this headline in the lower third. So a lot of people don't want Andy Cohen and Madonna to go on his show. And you want to know something? In so many ways, I'm glad because she did drop some new photos today talking about she's in the stew with Stu. In the studio with Stewart, in case people didn't understand what Stu meant. So she has been giving us little updates here and there on the new album. And I do agree that, yeah, even though I would definitely want to watch the show and I'm here for the mess, I don't want her to give this queen the satisfaction of exploiting her for his own ratings gain, because that's what Andy Cohen gives. You don't get to be successful where you are without having to step over a bunch of people and being messy. You don't get there by having integrity. I mean, there's very few people out here who can get there. Takes a long time, but if you want to get there a little faster, you got to step on a couple of people's necks to get to where they are. And trust and believe, Andy Cohen, socksless, shoe wearing ass, has stepped on many a heads to get where he is today. And there's no shade. I'm just saying, do you, niece, but just be honest about how you get to where you get. Now, she did state that she seemingly didn't close the door on a possible reconciliation with the network exec, as she teased, I don't know what's going to happen. In fact, asked point blank whether she would make up with Cohen, she said, let's go with maybe. So, Page Six reported this. Cohen's reps didn't respond to their request for comment, but he could comment about it at BravoCon. But okay, because I guess there he felt he can control the narrative. So to me, Me being the bigger person, it's like, you know what? If there was an opportunity for me to sit in the room with somebody who did me dirty, I would, you know what? With age and time, it heals all wounds. I might sit in the room, with me, I said all the messy, shady shit I said, and I'm probably gonna have to say that to you when I see you, just so that way I can exercise these demons and get it up out of me. Now, once I done cussed your ass out and I moved on, because that's how I do. I cuss you out and I move on. I was like, I said what I said, and now we can dab it up and keep it moving. Now, after all of that, it was like, okay, now I can forgive you. And then we can come into a much cordial place, which is if I see you out in the street, hey, how you doing? And I keep it moving. Now, as far as me like wanting to break bread with you and we want to hang out in a private booth together and we sit there drinking and kikiing and catch a both. Oh no, we ain't doing that. Because I'm a Virgo. We do hold grudges. I was trying to be all diplomat, act like we don't. We do. I will hold a grudge. And so it's like I will forgive, but I won't forget. And I can't after you done burned me and did me dirty, where you cost me millions of dollars and still on a job that I had. Oh no, I can't forgive that. I mean, I can forgive it, but I can't forget it. And so I would have to move on from that. Like we can be, like I said, we can be cordial. I can say, hey, how you doing? And keep moving. But as far as us trying to be like things going back to the way, no, I can't trust you because now in the back of my mind, I'm looking at you like, what you up to? Like I can't trust you after that. So I definitely want to hear from you in regards to this story. What do you think of this story regarding Andy Cohen spilling personal email tea about Kathy Griffin and revealing it in public, and now Kathy Griffin speaking out? Could you be that bigger person? Like I said, I was. Like I said, I could cuss you out, and then after that, we could dab it up and keep it moving. But could I forgive you and we could be best friends? No, because I feel like you sneaky and you might try to do something else, and you trying to all of a sudden get up in my business again. Like, what you up to? Why do you want to know? Like, I would be one of those people that's just like questioning everything. Like, the trust is pretty much broken at that point. So, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay. Hey, hold on. I'm like, damn, I got a long way to go up. Oh, what's this mean? You trying to say who you trying to you trying to say what? Oh, me watching TV and I'm falling asleep. He's like YouTube with no ads and the test new okay. So basically saying it's YouTube with no ads. Well, maybe I will check it out, but I gotta start crunching situations because I be spending too much money on things as it is. Exclusive YouTube premium stuff by your favorite artists. It'll be number one over the weekend. Isn't the first batch 4 episodes? Like you talking about Stranger Things? Well, yeah, because they splitting it up. So then it's gonna be the next time. I think it's around Christmas, and then it'll be 3 episodes, and then the finale, which is 1 episode, and that's supposed to be, and that's I feel like that final episode is 2 hours, and they're supposed to be releasing it in the theaters. Kathy would never forgive that idiot. I think what you want to say is she better not. Saying she shouldn't. Both him and Anderson were assholes. And the one thing about Andy Cohen is that Andy Cohen is up front with his shadiness, but tries to act like he not shady. It's like, child, we see through the bullshit. Anderson Cooper be low key sneaky with his. And the one thing I don't like about people, I'd rather you be shady to my face than sneaky behind my back. I can't stand the sneaky people behind my back because then it's like, oh no, you the worst kind. I never liked Andy, and I did like Anderson until they cut Kathy out. Yeah, there was a point where I liked Anderson Cooper, but then I started feeling like he came across a little phony. I did watch the specials and Life on the D List. I was a big Kathy fan back when she was on, um, when she was a part of the whole Bravo situation. Nah, I said what I said. Madonna doesn't like him because she sees through his bullshit. Is it wrong that if given the chance, I wouldn't find it hard to turn? He said, unfortunately, it's a no. He said, I would find it hard. Well, you would find it hard to turn him down. and he happens to be wearing booger sugar. What? Well, you know, he like that. He like that special powder, allegedly. Or as Ike Turner, well, not Ike Turner, it was Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner. What's love got to do with it? Called it that narcotic. Well, if he spills anything, you won't be able to see. True, unless he goes like that. Yeah, she said she tried to. Yeah, there was a bunch of periods like she was going through like a dark period. Isn't she usually? Well, she wasn't about Madam X, but and they said she's good usually about picking up on people lying to her. She was good when was the last time? Wait, she was good. When was the last time she was up? I'll never forget Titus Burgess clocking Andy's messiness to his face. Okay, well, there's one thing about a black homosexual. We're not gonna put up with that bullshit. And we will call it out to your face. Yeah, Titus was not having it. That episode was iconic. You said Kathy and Andy's frenemies tour. Could you imagine if they did a tour together? But no. First of all, Andy would have to find a way to be funny, but he doesn't know how to do that. He knows how to be annoying, and people think being an annoying gay is a talent. Kind of like um the people that what's some queen that queen name that do the Las Culturistas podcast, and now they're getting an award. They're doing a second season or a second annual version of their award show. I was sitting there like, for why? Because that award show was terrible based off of when I watched somebody review it, and they're annoying to the point that even Jamie Lee Curtis was kind of doing like a Blue Ivy was like like simmer down with all the loudness. I don't know why gays think a certain type of the basic gays always think yelling and screaming and stuff makes them funny. It's like no, it makes you annoying. The White Queen, that I was talking about that's part of the Las Culturistas podcast. I forgot his name. I actually saw him at, I don't know if I told you, I saw him at the Sabrina Carpenter concert. Now they starting the gay blogs and talk about, oh, he's in a relationship with this guy. I'm like, I been knew that. I saw them together all over each other at the Sabrina concert. And I knew that T. But I'm like, now y'all coming out and just revealing it. The gay blogs be so late. He supported Harvey Levin in an attack about one place. Can't stand Harvey. And people was dragging him in the comments because he was talking about some stuff that he had learned about Trump and the Epstein files. He was like, "But you support him, and you're like." They was dragging Harvey in his own comments over there on TMZ. How y'all feel about the Spanish people saying why black people ain't getting deported? Well, for the most part, black people are feeling like when it comes down to Spanish people getting deported, we sitting out here minding our good black business and we don't feel no ways tired about what's going on because we try to tell y'all, and apparently a lot of you Spanish people sitting up here running around thinking y'all got that assimilation of whiteness and that y'all was going to be exempt. Now y'all realizing those of you that I will vote for Nano Throne, all of y'all are getting deported. Now y'all gagging. So, well, he need to because Cash Patel is a hot ass mess. Did y'all hear that story about him using SWAT to protect his 27-year-old girlfriend? For why? That bitch could only get a job singing her tight ass music at what was it, like one of them derby shits? Not you ever earn your gay card. But anyway, now speaking of black people getting deported in slavery, let's talk about Lupita Nyong'o. So Lupita Nyong'o, as y'all know, won the Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. And you want to know something? One of the main gripes that I've always said that pisses me off about Hollywood is the fact y'all only want to reward black people when they're playing the worst atrocities of a certain character. Monique didn't get her Oscar until she played the world's worst mother. So she played up every stereotype of how y'all see black people. Hattie McDaniel playing a damn maid or mammy. Halle Berry getting her back clean, her tubes clean, her cootie cat cleaned out by a white racist in Monsters Ball. So when you start seeing a little of these things, I'm like, y'all be thinking that, oh, because they won the Oscar, that's cute. But it's like, well, what did you win the Oscar for? So I've always had a problem with like, y'all only want to reward black people when it's playing a character that plays up the worst black stereotypes. And you feeling like they need to be rewarded for that. Even though, yes, technically Steve McQueen is a black man and he directed 12 Years a Slave. So with all that being said, let's get into the story. So Lupita did a interview with Angelique Kidjo, which I have not heard that name in a month of Sundays. But she wound up doing, I think it was CNN Africa. She wound up doing an interview, and she spoke about winning the award and how after winning 12 Years a Slave, it only led to acting offers for more slave roles. So basically, she was kind of typecast, and they wanted her to just play slave parts. Now, I do have the video, so I want y'all to hear what she had to say. And once I pull that up, and then we will come back and talk. Please hold.
So, one of the questions that I also have is when you win your Oscar, how does that impact your career? And how that also opened doors for you to do many things that you're doing today?
Well, my winning an Academy Award came at the very start of my career. It was for the very first film that I had done. So it really did set the paces for everything I've done since. But you know what's interesting is that after I won that Academy Award, you think, oh, I'm going to get lead roles here and there. Oh, Lupita, we'd like to play another movie where you're a slave, but this time you're on a slave ship. Those are the kinds of offers I was getting in the months after winning my Academy Award. And it was a very tender time because, the world there's an expectation for you and your career.
Mm-hmm.
There were think pieces about, oh, is this is this beginning and end of this dark-skinned Black woman, African woman's career? And I had to deafen myself to all those pontificators because at the end of the day, I'm not a theory. I'm an actual person. I like to be a joyful warrior for changing the paradigms of what it means to be African. And if that means that I work one job less a year to ensure that I'm not perpetuating the stereotypes that are expected of people from my continent, then let me do that.
So,
when they wonder why that we need things like DEI to be in place, especially in places like Hollywood, because of these type of situations. Like, this is some Judge Judy type shit, where to the point where I'm gonna say, piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Like, how you gonna sit up in here and think like, well, because I played a damn slave in 12 Years a Slave, that literally that's the only thing that I can do. It's like there's so many other things that I can do. And then she also gets into the story about like how she had to lose her accent because she was born and raised in Africa, and how she went into acting and had to lose all of that part of herself, which is what they always try to tell you in Hollywood. Like, I understand, like, as an actor, you want to be able to diversify your portfolio so you lose that accent so you can learn how to speak in other ways and be able to play different characters so that when you show the versatility. And that's basically what you want. But it's funny how, like, when you're Black, they don't want to afford you those situations. They think, oh, when it comes to white people, especially when you don't really be around enough people of color or even understand different cultures, which I always tell y'all, Hollywood, y'all always talk about, oh, it's so liberal. No, they're way more conservative than a lot of y'all realize in a lot of situations. And the type of programming, the way they treat people who are not white and male in this industry, it definitely shows in a lot of ways. And then don't even get me started on how some of these Black creators play into those stereotypes, because they feel like that's the only way certain things get made. Where if you have the money, if you have the power, you have the wherewithal, you should be trying to change the narrative of how Black people are perceived in certain cinematic projects and music projects. But they always go where the money resides, or what's the easiest way for them to do so. Or maybe they have a limited vernacular on how they see their own people, when we should be thriving to show more, which is why I like directors like F. Gary Gray, John Singleton, may he rest in peace, Steve McQueen and some of the films he's done. Also, Ryan Coogler is like one of my favorite directors right now, because every movie he's come out with, from Fruitville Station on down to Sinners, everything that comes out, like, there's so much deep richness to the stories that he tells in regards of, Black people and the injustices of Black people. Which is why Sinners is like one of my all-time favorite movies of 2026. So, shout out to her, but I should also say this. Now, the one thing I do like about her is like, you know what? I'm not going to sit up here and just take whatever job just because I want to keep working. I'd rather just, okay, if I'm only going to do one movie a year to ensure that I'm not going to play up stereotypes and have people look at me like I'm some damn coon and a sellout, then I guess I'm going to just do one movie. And I like the direction that she's taken in between her doing 2 Black Panther movies and hopefully the third one that's going to be coming out. She has starred in Star Wars The Force Awakens, where she played Maz Kanata. She also starred in, as I said, Black Panther, Queen of Katwe, Us, which I didn't particularly care for Us, but I liked her in it. And I also liked her in A Quiet Place Day 1. I thought she was good in that movie. I would like to see more of that universe explored, and I hope we get to see more of her in that. Oh wait, I think her character died actually. So I don't think she will come back, if I'm not mistaken, because I only saw the movie once. But I think she was sick. There was a whole situation. I don't want to get into the whole thing if there are people out there that still didn't see it. But also during a 2024 episode of What Now with Trevor Noah podcast, she said that she was indirectly forced. Oh, this is where the whole thing about her Kenyan accent that I was telling y'all about, because there's more on it. She was forced to lose her Kenyan accent in order to become an American actor and take on different Hollywood roles. She said it felt like a betrayal to herself when she made that decision, saying the first permission I gave myself to change my accent or allow my accent to transform was going to drama school. This is what she said via Entertainment Weekly. I went to drama school because I didn't want to just be an instinctive actor. I wanted to understand my instrument. I wanted to know what I was good at, what I was not good at, and work on the things that I wasn't good at. And one of the things I wasn't good at was accents. The process of deciding, okay, I'm not going to start working on my American accent, or sorry, okay, I'm going to start working on my American accent, and I'm not going to allow myself to sound Kenyan, so that I'm like monitoring and really trying to understand my mouth in a technical way to like make these new sounds, make those new sounds in a context that wasn't the classroom. I felt like a betrayal. You know, I didn't feel like myself, and I cried many nights to sleep, many, many nights. Well, look, hopefully, well, I don't know if there's a way you can get your accent back unless you go back to Kenya and you stay there for a while. Then those things come back. But for the most part, I guess when you know better, you do better. Because there's British people out here who was like, you know what, I still have my accent, but I could do it. I can perfect the American accent, and you go back and forth with that. So maybe what the problem was is that she got American training, where America is always about trying to erase your identity so that when you conform to American ideologies, whereas in England, I think it's like, no, you can still maintain of who you are, but also you can learn how to take on other accents. Here's why you still see British people out here still got their accent, or English people from the UK, or that situation. They still have their regular accents, but they could really do a really good American accent. So they train them in different ways. And so I should also point out, look, Lupita's had a pretty legitimate career, and I like the direction she's taken. She's going to be in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which I'm definitely looking forward to. But let's read some of the comments, and then we can get up out of here with this story. One person said she should play Storm. That has always been something I've said over the years. However, I think they're trying to go younger, so I don't know if she's going to get it or she'll get the part. But I've always said Lupita would be my first choice. Well, would be one of the choices that I would want to see play Storm. Her or Jodie Turner-Smith. I like Jodie Turner-Smith. I liked her in Tron Ares. I felt like they could have did a little more with her, but I've always felt either one of those two could be Storm. Another person said, I am not a theory, I'm an actual person. Yeah, they was agreeing with that part of what she said. Another person said she's grounded and intelligent. Another person said two absolute legendary women, as I said, Lupita and then Angelique Kidjo. Then we had teaching Africa and Africans never to take roles that make them shrink. Thank you for existing and living bravely and true. Another person said, learn to walk away from things that don't resonate with you. And that's what I love about that. And we need more women of high intellect like Lupita that need to be out here speaking about just in general, because it's been a minute since we had some black people that's out here celebrity wise that have said some shit that it's like, okay, y'all actually sound smart, because we already deal with a bunch of idiots between Nicki Minaj, which I totally forgot to bring up that Rolling Stone story, which I'm gonna bring up tomorrow, that news story that came out about her about to be evicted, and the judge trying to take her house or whatever. We're gonna bring that up tomorrow. But anyway, so between her, Van Jones coon ass, then we got Stephen A. Smith moronic ass, and then we have Snoop Dogg, the recently Joel Santana talking about that kids need financial literacy, not actual literacy. And then so many other like this. It's been too many black people out here saying dumb shit. So it's nice that we actually can have somebody of some high intelligence that's saying something worth talking about instead of only reporting on the dummies that's running around. Oh, and Pharrell too. We can't forget about his dumb ass just speaking on things that they don't have the vernacular to speak on. So I say all this to say to you, what do you guys think of this story in regards to Lupita Nyong'o speaking out about, you know, the things that she's had to face in Hollywood post her Oscar win for 12 Years a Slave? I mean, I'm not surprised by her saying it. It's just sad that like yeah, in 2025, we're still having these damn conversations in today like we should still be having these conversations. You would think we would have the as an industry and in general, like even with politics and stuff like people thought that we evolved post Obama being president. Now it feels like we backsliding back into the days of a small minimal group of people who want to wallow in their racism. They want things to go back to the way things were. They don't want people outside of you being white and male having power and control. They want to go back to those days. They don't want diversity. They don't want inclusion. They don't want all these things. And you would think that we've evolved from that. But apparently it's like you take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back as I switch up the lyrics for Paula Abdul's Opposites Attract. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right. Well, you said, said, Lord, what happened to Cash Patel now? What hasn't happened? He ain't doing his damn job. But there's so much craziness going on with the FBI. And of course, when you hire loyalists instead of people who actually understand the job, what do you expect? It's going to be a disaster. And like I said before, he's actually he's having SWAT teams babysit his 27-year-old girlfriend, and he's 45. His non-singing ass girlfriend. And you said monster. She got Monters. Who's that? You said she got her back blown out and she left. She let him eat her. Oh, you talking about Cash Patel? Julia Roberts made her career for playing a playful hoe. Oh, well, you talking about? Well, that was like one movie. That was Pretty Woman. I'm glad she addressing this because a lot of black actors and writers say the same thing. Of course, which is why I constantly bring it up. An award one has many more parts involved than just the actor involved. It's a whole sentiment in how well a story is told. I only saw 12 Years a Slave once because I was like, I can't with all that craziness that was going on up in there. I just don't really take too kindly to slavery. I mean, I know the history. I don't like watching, what do I call it? Forgot the phrase. What do I call it? Trauma porn. Like I don't really like watching traumatic stuff on in movies, TV, whatever. Like I understand like the history of black people need to be told, but it ain't always about slavery. There's so many other stories that you could tell about black people instead of it always being revolving around slavery. Brendan Fraser has to wear a 500-pound fat suit to even get noticed. That too. Look, I always said like when it comes down to it's like y'all gonna get mad if I say it. You gotta play a fat person, you gotta play a retard, you gotta play um a slave. If you black, you gotta be like the world's worst mother in Precious. You got to be a prostitute. You got to be. It's like Hollywood looks like. Oh look, somebody's so different than just the average regular person. Let's give him an Oscar. Or if you're cisgender, if you play a trans person or homosexual, oh, you did something brave. So now we got to give you, even though you identify as a straight cis person, we got to give you an Oscar for it. Mind you, there's plenty of queer people out here that can tell these stories, but I don't want to give them the job. But yeah, let's give Jared Leto an Oscar for playing a trans one with AIDS. I was like, okay. Him and Matthew McConaughey. I mean, hey, A Quiet Place needs a television. You know what? I would actually like to see A Quiet Place as a TV show. Her Oscar pearl dress, one of my all-time favorites. That's another thing too I like about Lupita. She's a fashion maven. I don't want to say icon yet because she's still fresh in the game, but because people throw around that icon word a little too loosely. Boy Scouts being Why? Well, I was in the Boy Scouts actually. These people are bored. MC Scat Cat. That name alone, that's disgusting. First of all, why are we talking about scat? He said now that they can't be shamed for being racist. Hollywood has no use for because like I've always said, I definitely feel that a lot of people the reason why they want to keep Trump in office is because during his first term, they could hide behind him and wallow in their racism and their bigotry and hating on, oh yeah, we can just say what we want. You always was able to say what the fuck you was gonna say. The problem is we not putting up with the shit no more. You can say whatever the hell you want to say, but people got to realize there's consequences to the things that you say. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying you can't say what you want to say. You definitely got free reign. You just got to realize that with your bigotry and the stupid commentary and the things you say, expect a clap back. Expect somebody to read you down the floor, and you can't get mad. So things can't be one-sided or one way. You can't just spew the bigotry and the hatred based off of someone's color of their skin or their sexual orientation or their gender or their age or whatever the case is. So you can't do all of that. All right, y'all. So now let's move on with the rest of the show. And let's talk about Ice-T. So if y'all been watching Law and Order SVU this season, I'm sure y'all probably have been seeing less of Detective Tutuola on the show. Now I will admit it's been a minute since I'm so far behind on Law and Order SVU. I'm like a couple of seasons behind. But excuse me. But I have been watching the show on Hulu, like all the old episodes. So I've just been binging it that way. But he said that don't fret. He's not leaving the show. He is a part of the show. He wants to make it to the next season, which I think is season 28, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, I'll bring it up. But he said the reason why he is getting less time on the show is because they brought back Kelli Giddish. Now, shout out to her. I have seen her a couple of times at the Knicks games, so shout out to her. I'm glad they brought her back to the show. I've always been a fan of Kelli Giddish on the show as Detective Rollins. And for a period, she went through some things and they fired her. And Mariska said that she fought hard to keep her on the show, but just things didn't work out the way they worked out. But he said the reason why that he's getting less time is because of budget issues. So they ain't got no money over there at NBC Universal. Well, hopefully with this whole situation that's going down where they got Taylor Sheridan coming over there, NBC probably can get a little extra jolt in their situation. So after Mariska Hargitay, Ice-T has been on the Dick Clark series the longest, joining the show in season 2 in 2000. However, he's only appeared in 4 of the 8 episodes this year. He said it's just basically business. They brought Kelli back. At the end of the day, they couldn't keep both of us on both times as far as budget wise. This is what he said during a recent interview with TMZ, referring to Kelli Giddish, who portrayed Detective Amanda Rollins from seasons 13 to 24. When she was written off, she returned full time for season 27, something that Hargitay fought for. And this is season 27 that they're currently in. They said, and then to continue on what he said, they said, Ice, well, we'll have you come in and out this year. Everyone wanted Kelli back. We have new cops. I'm not leaving the show. I'm more concerned with going to season 28. This year, they said, Ice, we're going to work you a little less. Everything was cool with me. I understood. I said, are you getting rid of me? They said, no way. We can't imagine Law and Order without you. I've been on the show for 27 years. I'm not going to say anything negative about the show. They have taken care of me for so long. I'm trying to get to season 28. And to me, I feel like that's smart. Play your cards close to your chest. And the good thing about doing this show is like, okay, you're gonna cut my time. Um, it allows me to do other things that I do on the side. Y'all do know that Ice-T is a musician, so he can focus on making music or whatever the case is, or whatever other hobbies that he may have, and dive into that. If he wants to decide to work on a movie or whatever the case is, I can take time off and make an appearance and do something here if it fits in within my schedule. And plus, he got Coco. Speaking of Ice-T, I saw him recently. He was at the UFC fight. Him and Coco was in the audience. Well, I should say him and Coco was there. So he also said that, speaking of which, the free time has allowed him to do other things like work on new music. He said, "Don't worry about me. I'm kind of glad the fans are upset. What if I was missing and nobody cared? I will be sprinkled throughout the season." Now, at the end of season 26, Juliana Martinez and Octavio Pisano exited the show. Amy Donna Kelly was up to series regular as Captain Curry, and Norma Dumezwan, or however the hell you say her damn name, joined as a recurring guest. Returning cast members also include Peter Scandavino, who at one point was a cop on the show, and now he's an attorney. And now you have Kevin Kane. Now, I will say this: I've always loved me some Law and Order. Like out of all the Law and Orders, I love me some SVU. That has always been like my go-to guilty pleasure. Like that is like my comfort food. And I know it's weird to say that because it's about sexual assault and abuse and all the other mess, but for some reason, Law and Order SVU comforts me. And the thing with that show is I can't stand a pedophile. I can't stand sexual abusers. But I think what I love about that show, low key, is the fact that it's always about bringing those criminals to justice. I like the Law and Order, the regular Law and Order season, but I've always been with it with SVU, and I think it's because it was Stabler and Benson. Kind of wish they would bring him back to that show, but he got organized crime, and I'm trying so hard to get into organized crime, but organized crime don't really get me going like all the other spinoffs, particularly SVU. And they've had always so many great guest stars on the show, and I think there's like I don't know, this is something about SVU that I just love that show, and being that I've watched that show for so long, and so many celebrities have come through that franchise. It's great to see Kelly Giddish back on the show. And yeah, as long as they don't get rid of Ice-T, I'm cool with the fact that he's less on the show. But I've always liked when he's on the show. Now, the crazy part about this is like, damn, how expensive is Law and Order SVU that y'all got to cut actors and only alternate them due to budgetary reasons? So that's what I'm curious to find out. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding what Ice-T had to say, that you'll be seeing less of him on this upcoming season? Because, yeah, the fans are excited that we got Kelly Giddish back. Mariska fought hard to get her back on the show. And, um, yeah, so that's their primary focus. They want to have her back on the show, and they want to focus on that. And unfortunately, some people's screen time is going to have to be diluted a bit so that we can get her back on the show and up and running. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. That's funny. Oh, you said the dominant primetime networks are being streaming service diluted. Well, that's another thing too. Like I don't watch um like regular TV. Like everything is on streaming. I do feel like network television is being um challenged because people aren't watching linear TV the way that legacy TV the way that they used to. I know like if you're a person of a certain age, like my grandmother, my parents, even though I've given my parents like every streaming service under the sun, like instead of you having to record stuff and like fast forward and stuff, you could watch it on these streaming services. But I think it's hard for them to remember where everything is. So they don't they still stick to the format of regular TV. But my mother, I have both my parents on it. I have them on my Hulu, my Paramount Plus, all that other stuff. And my mother still, she's like, the only thing she watches on Hulu, well, she watches a lot of things, but her story's on there. General Hospital's on there, so that's what she watched on the Hulu stuff. But for the most part, um, yeah, TV is not the same anymore. So yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons why they're doing that. So unfortunately, people aren't watching TV the way they used to, and they're still trying to figure out the whole streaming service thing. So that could be that. But as far as the whole IC thing, there is a running joke in my family. My mother actually refers to my sister. She's like, she says Ice T is her father because the complexion, that whole sort of thing. So that's not the first time I've heard that. And I guess Ice T Tiger Woods due to um the Asian part, because I do have Asian family members. Funny enough, but I just don't have the coonish side of him. Thank God. All right, y'all. So now we are down to our final four topics. So before we get to those final four, if you have not already, please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. Definitely helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff and helps with the channel. And I've noticed that the numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger with the lives and the playback and all the other stuff. So shout out to y'all. And thank you for your continued support. Now, without further ado, let's get into this story regarding Joseph Kahn because he threw some shade at Avatar. Now, Joseph Kahn, who y'all may not be familiar with, he's a prominent filmmaker. He's done a lot of music videos. He directed a new horror movie. I don't know if it's out yet or if it's coming out, but it's called Ick. But anyway, he directed the film and he went and spoke about this upcoming. Well, he's talking about Avatar. And in so many ways, based on what he said, I agree with him. So, this holiday season, record breaking numbers of moviegoers will flock to cinemas and be transported to another world filled with colorful creatures, gripping love stories, and special effects that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to create. But we're not talking about Wicked for Good. It's the third chapter in director James Cameron's little epic saga called Avatar. Ever heard of it? And more importantly, do we as homosexuals even care? Now, according to recent incendiary tweet from filmmaker Joseph Kahn, the answer is basically no, and we've got to admit he makes some points. Now, of course, the Avatar films are among the highest grossing of all time. The 2009 original holds the number one spot in history, raking in over 2.9 billion, while its 2022 sequel landed at 2.3 billion. Now, with Avatar Fire and Ash hitting theaters on December 19th, you'd expect pop culture to be rearing up for another grandiose adventure of the lush sci-fi world of Pandora as Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, continues his fight to protect the Na'vi people. Miley Cyrus even dropped a snooze of a song in hopes that the general population would care, but it doesn't seem to be picking up any traction because, as Kahn wrote, gays cannot give a fuck about Avatar. Now, to be fair, Khan does not identify as a homosexual, although the prolific music video director has made a lot of things for the gays. Now, he has directed videos such as Britney Spears' Toxic, Womanizer, and Stronger, visuals. He did that. He did Love Game by Lady Gaga. Speaking of which, I just heard that Lady Gaga's Bad Romance actually has 1 billion views on YouTube. So shout out to her because that video is iconic. So I got to give her that. And Womanizer, I told you I saw that music video before the world did because when I was at VH1, that's how I was able to. I actually got to watch the video before it was released on MTV and all the other conglomerates. He also directed Kylie Minogue's All the Lovers video and Blank Space by Taylor Swift. Now, I should get into the tweet of what he said. Excuse me, and come back and talk. Now, he said, here's my theory why Avatar has no cultural impact, even though they are the biggest selling films of all time. Gays cannot give a fuck about Avatar. No one aspires to be or have sex with a giant cat alien. Well, sir, I don't think you've been on the internet enough, because if you go on Twitter, people be into all kinds of weird shit. So I don't know if I necessarily believe the fact that humans wouldn't want to have sex with a giant cat alien, especially with all this cosplay and what do they call those plushies, Furbies, or whatever the case is, that be when them people be dressing up as little animals and things. So all kind if you like it, I love it, but people got their fetishes. So he said, therefore, it does not tap into the gay industrial complex that highly influences media, from fashion editors to music critics to bon vivants. Avatar is a boomer cruise, a solid Hawaiian boomer vacation with nice sunsets and all-you-can-eat chicken sautés. There's no reciprocation for the cool people, so these movies quietly scoop up all the uneventful dollars with minimal fuss, controversy, and cultural impact. That's what happens when the gays ignore you. You are the richest but most boring person at the party and will need Epstein to get laid. Well, goddamn. I like, tell us how you really feel. But then again, you want to know something? I agree with what he said. Even though it's a little harsh, I do feel like, for me, I've watched Avatar, but it never moved me in a way where it's like it gives this cultural impact. It's like they're pretty to look at. The visuals and everything looks pretty cool, but for the most part, I'm not some big I'm not overly excited. Like even when I saw the trailer in IMAX, actually, when I went to go see The Running Man, they showed the coming attraction. They showed the trailer for Avatar in IMAX, and I was like, okay, visually it looks great, but personally, I'm like, I'm not over the moon excited for this franchise. I've never really been like, shout out to James Cameron, who's always pushing the boundaries when it comes to the special effects and how he does a lot of his films. But it didn't give me that same feeling I got when he was pushing the boundaries with films such as Terminator and Terminator 2 and Aliens. And yes, see, I do have a hard on for Cameron. If you know, you know. Um, that line. So and also, other movies he's made where it was like what I said, T2, then he's also done Alita Battle Angel, he's done so many other movies. So James Cameron has definitely pushed the boundaries in regards of like action and marrying like the whole technology and action and that sort of thing. And I like that he's pushing the boundaries and coming up with new ways of making Avatar exciting. But I do feel like, in a way, that Joseph is correct, where it feels like it's a boomer cruise, a solid Hawaiian boomer vacation. Like he's saying, like this is all. It's literally like going to Disneyland. Like okay, so it's like a cash grab. It doesn't really have any kind of value with what it is that you're doing. So there were some people that jumped in the comments. One person said Fast and the Furious, Terminator, John Wick, Star Wars, not to mention sports, non-gay industrial complex approved IP counter examples that still hit the zeitgeist like a ton of bricks abound. It's a way in, but not the only way in. And Joseph Kahn responded by saying John Wick is homoerotic man grappling, which it kind of is with the jujitsu. Terminator is a muscular man in biker leather. Star Wars is lightsaber dick tapping, and Fast and the Furious, gay. Then another person said, "No one aspires to be or have sex with a giant cat alien. You've got to get to some weirder corners of the internet, man." That's what I said. I'm like, you'd be surprised what you find on the internet and what people are interested in. And then it said, by your theory, Lord of the Rings movies are the gayest movies of the 21st century. Well, they might be. They just might be. But then yeah, then someone said, gotta push back on the no one aspires to be or have sex with a giant cat alien claim, because have you met people? They absolutely aspire to such things. Another person said, I feel like gays dress up like Avatar every year for Halloween. And I think someone did say there was a response to that, if I could uh find that. I think what they were referring to was like, wait, let me open it and see if I can find it. Because there was a funny response. Oh, there's one person said a handful of gays doesn't make it a thing. You will always have outliers. So it was like, yeah, there are a few people like me. I've never seen a lot of people dress up as the Navi for Halloween. I haven't seen that. I was actually surprised I didn't see a bunch of Aunt Gladys's running around for Halloween, as much as she's become such a icon within the community. So I was surprised by that. And another person said it isn't just the gays, it's women too. They are why Del Toro added the in love with a monster subplot in his Frankenstein. It's why that bull milking farm book blew up on TikTok. You need to tap both. So people have their theories on this. But is it true that Avatar franchise has a lack of appeal to heterosexual female viewers? I mean, I don't know who is the target audience for Avatar. I'm kind of curious about that. But then they also say is that's not to say he's arguing with the LGBTQ plus community can't rally behind a big blockbuster IP film. Top Gun Maverick, anyone? Wait a minute. Did a lot of gays turn out for Top Gun Maverick? And was it just for that shirtless volleyball scene? Or was it because we had Glenn Powell and a bunch and Jay Ellis and a bunch of others in that movie and Danny Ramirez. There was a lot of guys in the movie, but I don't know if there was a big gay audience for Top Gun Maverick. Let me know in the comments if there was. I could be wrong. I mean, I like action movies, so I'm gonna go see those regardless. They ain't got nothing to do with somebody taking their damn shirt off. I just like action movies. Um, I was trying to see if there was anything else that they were saying in here. So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know if Joseph Kahn is a homosexual. it's interesting that you want to come out and speak on the behalf of the gays and knowing like what it exactly like we because at one point in time I will say we were the trendsetters. We were the ones that set the tone for what it was that people like in regards of like setting the trends and that sort of thing. I don't know if we still have that impact anymore. Back before internet was the internet, we had that cultural impact. We were the movers and shakers of what music that people deemed cool or whatever the case was, and fashions and things of that nature. And so there may be some truth to that. But regardless of what he says, and I do agree with some of the stuff, especially it was kind of harsh when you said you're the richest, most boring person at the party who needs Epstein to get laid. That's a little shady. Um, the movies are still gonna make money. And that just because the movie is gonna make a ton of money, because I need to reiterate this, does not mean the movie is good. There's a lot of shitty movies that have been billion-dollar grossing films. But apparently there's an audience out there for it. They like it. But one movie I'm sure that will be sort of like Avatar for the girls and the gays, and that would be The Devil Wears Prada too, because that's coming out next year. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with Joseph Kahn's thoughts in regards of saying that, yeah, Avatar doesn't really have that has zero impact, and gays shouldn't care whether or not about this franchise? I mean, I don't think the gays do care. I mean, I'm sure there will be some homosexuals that will be going to see this movie, but for the most part, we not out here opining for some damn Navi and whatever's going on with this Fire and Ash movie. Like I said, I see the trailers. I'm not that impressed. Visually looks great, but there's nothing there that is drawing me to be like, oh my god, I can't wait for this Avatar movie to come out. And I need to be there opening night. Like that, I'm not getting those vibes. I've never gotten those vibes from this franchise. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Mm-mm-mm. Wait, hold on. I don't want to be a Labubu. Wait, hold on. You said, "Mhm, I want to be a Labubu." Well, they do have a Labubu movie coming out, just so you know. Gays give too much attention to things that have no impact, hence dating themselves, aka twin. Okay? Because there's a lot of that going on. I enjoyed the leader too. I saw it in the movies, and James Cameron is promising that we might get a sequel. So I'm like, sir, you need to get on that because you're not getting any younger. You focusing too much on these goddamn Avatar movies. Billboard put "Hardcore" by Little Kim as the greatest rap album cover. It damn show is, because I remember when that album cover came out, it was controversial. Even saying she can deny her influence, but like Gaga denies Madonna's influence. Nicki owes everything to Little Kim because Kim made um well, I do think that there is a lot of Little Kim's isms in Nicki Minaj, but I'm not even getting involved in that mess. I do not want to be up in here giving a whole discourse about Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim. He says someone told me once they co-opted the story of Pocahontas and made it a. You can maybe that's what I mean. Isn't that what kind of Avatar is? Avatar meets. I mean, Pocahontas meets Fern Gully. Gays giving too much attention to something with no impact. Well, look, Lucas Gage out here talking about he 10% heterosexual. I'm like, girl, get off my line with that foolishness. Now the Devil Wears Prada is the gay version of Avatar. Those models do look pretty alien with how skinny they can get. I mean, yeah, it's a fact. That's gonna be the gays equivalent of Avatar, the Devil Wears Prada too. When that movie finally comes out, first of all, y'all gotta kept that damn little 20-second preview thing. Like we ain't need it, but I'm glad it's coming out. As I said, Pocahontas meets Fern Gully. That's basically what Avatar is. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to our next topic. And let's talk about Kim Petras, who is opening up about the Jekyll and Hyde side of being a pop star. Because, when it comes down to celebrities or whatever, a lot of them turn out to be introverted extroverts, or they're extremely shy. Hence why they got to come up with personas. Where you have, for example, Beyonce had to come up with Sasha Fierce. And so now Kim Petras did a recent interview where she pretty much opened up about this whole situation. I'm like, where the hell is this picture? Did I not put it in here? Oh wait, it is there. Apparently Chris is blind. So now let's get into the story. So here's what she said. She said, I think pop stars are performative doms that are secretly subs. Dominant, submissive, in case you know. For me, especially, I'm such a shy person in real life, but then the stage unlocks this really dommy like I get whatever the fuck I want personality. My whole career is built on my fans enabling me to live out that fantasy. I feel like I'm my truest self because my brain is gone when I'm on stage. She says, I'm a huge overanalyzer, which is why the music is at the level it is. It's at writing wise. When I get on stage, I could be tits out, no panties on, but in real life, it's only no panties if I really trust you and know you. I've had some shows where I was so hungover and they turned out to be my best shows ever. I don't know how that works. So she went and said all of this in her recent interview. And I'm like, you know what? For her, of course, her being a part of the LGBTQ plus community, she's going to put it as, yeah, we're performative doms who are secretly subs. But they've always said people who are in positions of control behind the scenes can be pretty submissive and they want somebody else to take control and have that take the reins because it's like, okay, I'm in business mode all day. I'm controlling every aspect of my career. When I go home, I want somebody else to be like, take the reins, and I just want to just not have to worry about shit. And so I totally understand that in that business term. And yeah, with her saying like she's a pretty shy person, I totally forgot because as I was reading the article, she said she's a Virgo. I'm like, makes sense. A lot of times Virgos are relatively shy and quiet. We're not like the most outgoing types until we get into this business work mode or whatever. And then it's like, okay, so we have to kind of force ourselves to come out of this show because we're in work mode or whatever the case is. And for the most part, it's like as a pop star, you want to be able to live out your little fantasy and do all the things that you want to do. But yeah, so there was that, and then we have hold on, the interview. If y'all want to definitely check that out, y'all can go over there on my website. I'm thinking what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna create a QR code that leaves it up there, and then people can go and just go directly there to the stuff. And so yeah, so we have the pictures and stuff here, and this is where she basically said what she said. And yeah, she was talking about how she broke her foot, where basically she said she jumped off a stage at Louboutins. I'm like, girl, you done lost your mind. Why would you do something that dumb? But I guess when you hide in Cooter Brown, a lot of situations you're not really thinking. So shout out to her. And I totally wholeheartedly agree with what she had to say in regards to that. So yeah, if you're interested, definitely check out her interview with Interview Magazine. It is available on like you could just Google Schmoogle and look it up, and if you want to take the time to read it, read it. I don't even know when her new album comes out, but I'm sure it's relatively soon. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with Kim when she had to say, yeah, pop stars are pretty much performative doms that are secretly subs? It's like, yeah, we have to be dominant in this aspect because this is our careers, but once the lights and everything goes off, the cameras is down, and we not on stage having to be in performance mode, we can be pretty submissive in our personal lives. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Felix said he loved Fern Gully as a kid. And Onyx says, still waiting patiently on Detour. I was listening to a bunch of girly pop earlier this afternoon, and Kim really should lean into her girly girl bimbo Paris Hiltonisms. But we'll see if that's what she does with the new album, because she did say that with this album, she has 100% control over everything that's coming out with this record. So I'm like, so she must have parted ways with Dr. Pugh. Because remember, she was up under him for a long time, and y'all went and y'all read Katy Perry, the Riot Act. So Kim don't want to be a part of that mess no more. Onyx says unless you're SZA, Taylor, or Harry Styles, a well-established name with a passionate fan base, releasing the album in December is a risk, and that would be a ticking bomb for Kim. Oh, because you're saying like why? Because the holidays is coming, so you feel like everybody's gonna be buying up more Taylor Swift records in December. Look, I keep hearing stories that Beyonce is releasing Act 3 early 2026. So maybe that's why also She's been making a lot of appearances. She went to the Brandy and Monica concert where Rumi was showing her ass and looked like Beyonce was going to snatch her up because she didn't want to get in that damn car. And then she went and did the F1 thing with Lewis Hamilton, where she was in the little biker gear. So I'm thinking she's starting to creep out little by little and being outside a bit because she wants y'all to know that Act 3 is coming. Not Bottom Confessions, the album. Now, speaking of bottoms, excuse me, hold on, let me drink some water. That cold is going, I don't know what's going on. It's like I just got this cough. Okay, let's start that over again. Now, speaking of bottoms, let's get into this topic. So apparently, I don't know if y'all heard, but there are twin homosexual models. Well, one of them claims that he's bisexual. The other, well, one says he's bisexual. The other one says he's straight. So we got Drake Vaughn and his brother Silas apparently are beefing. They don't like each other. And now it seems like they're trying to compete on who could drop the most lows and the most bottoms. And there's, well, I don't think you can only drop for so many lows in a bottom. But let's get into the article. So there's a beef going on in the OF creator world, and it's getting a bit messy. So Drake Vaughn and Silas Brooks, identical twins who look so alike that half of TikTok believes they're the same person playing both sides of the elaborate hoax. But I should point out that they're not faking it. They're not they're actual real life twins. We've seen the pictures. Once upon a time, they used to collab as the Baconator twins. Before they went their separated, that was like a little brief thing. And now here's where things get spicy. So Drake, who I think most people are more familiar with than his brother Silas, because I do recall Drake because he's been with a lot of the studios, and he even did that mid-ass podcast, the Wild podcast with them queens that be them little twinks that be trying to act like they gay, but they not. So y'all sitting out here milking our community for a coin, but okay. But if y'all like it, I love it. But anyway, so Drake creates gay homosexual content for OF, but won't label his sexuality. He calls himself homosexual. Meanwhile, Silas identifies as bisexual and constantly accuses Drake of queerbaiting. Now, then also, Drake went and said that Silas is the queerbaiter. So it's like, I'm not a queerbaiter, you're a queerbaiter. No, you're not the queerbaiter, I'm the queerbaiter. Like, it's the back and forth thing. It's annoying. It's very childish. But then again, they both look like little twinks, so it's to be expected. Now the twins despise each other to the point that Drake literally says it's disrespectful to even associate them as brothers. Silas clapped back by pointing out Drake has a kid, using it as proof that he's straight, as if there aren't men who have sex with men that also have kids with women. But wait, there's more. So Drake is also claiming that Silas also has a kid he's paying child support for. Didn't I tell you it's like the tit for tat thing? It's kind of annoying. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, by the way, I do think that they would be perfect for the homosexual reality series X-Ray LA that's on Out TV. But I don't even know if that show's coming back. Speaking of which, whatever happened to X-Rated NYC with Boomer Banks and who else was on that show? Max Connor and all of them. Are they and Joey Mills? They done with that show, or is it coming back? Because I haven't heard anything. And then they had X-Rated LA was even more messier. But here y'all got some real life drama that y'all should put them both on the show. Now comes word that both twins will have a dick off, as both will now be competing in for a one top versus 1,000 bottoms record in one day. And here I thought two girls in one cup was controversial. Now the TikTok video features Drake surrounded by a group of twinks with the next 1,000 bottoms versus one top above it. So I will show y'all the video, but it has music and just looking at a bunch of basic ass white twinks with the same Edgar haircut. Posing. That's literally what you're going to get. So take my word for it. Now, a few months later, he announced plans for the record attempt were in motion, telling Pride that I probably know 1,000 bottoms are ready to partake. He admitted, adding that he's already in talks with sponsors right now to make the Las Vegas stunt a reality. He also revealed that fans will be able to join him, saying subscribing to my OF gets you a one-way ticket into being a participant in this challenge. You just must also be an active practicer of safe sex. This isn't just a publicity stunt. Well, sir, it is a publicity stunt, but I'm sure there's more to it. I want to spread the word about safe sex and educate the masses. Well, if that's the case, well, does that mean you're going to be using condoms when you punching 1,000 bottoms? Because if that's your version of safe sex, then okay. But I'm sure that because we're in the world of barebacking, which seems to be the ongoing way that a lot of these studios make money now. Because I remember once upon a time, it was frowned upon to do BB sex. Now they're all for it. And so I'm sure that there probably ain't gonna be no condoms in it. And if there is, I already know that a lot of people are gonna be turned off by watching that because a lot of people don't like seeing rubbers and stuff. But it is good to be tested and make sure that you're good if you're gonna be having sex with not only these models, but a bunch of damn strangers that want to partake in the shenanigans. So now after that, his brother Silas, because I told you tit for tat is what y'all need to call yourselves, because that's where it seems like we're going with this. Silas is jumping on his twins' idea with his own announcement, saying, "Hey guys, Silas Brooks here. It's finally happening. 10 inches, aka me, versus 1,000 bottles." That's actually funny. And these boys are well endowed, so I would not be surprised if he actually does have 10 inches. He said, "It's going to be great. If you want to participate in this, check out my link in the bio." And that was over there on his TikTok. It's the only news Brooks has dropped of the challenge so far, but it's certainly got people's attention already. Now, Drake Vaughn and Silas Brooks originally found their fan base, as was mentioned, as the Baconator Twins, and Drake went to pick up 2 Gavian Awards, cementing his reputation as one of gay porn's most recognizable stars, while Silas Brooks has since signed with Helix Studios, which is like they make twink porn. Drake has carved his own path working with major studios, including Men.com and Colby Knox, as well as cultivating a thriving OF presence. The pair have both publicly called each other out in interviews online, as well as posting videos about their beef with each other. Brooks has even gone on to accuse Drake of queer baiting his fans in videos shared on TikTok, and has even said that you're not even a homosexual. Saying, well, they also want to say it's always, look, at the end of the day, I always feel like it's always pretty sad when siblings can't get along. Trust me, I know. But I'm curious as to how these two tops are planning to pound out 1,000 bottoms. Like, how is that even going to work? I mean, at the end of the day, make sure you take your Viagra or your Trimix or whatever it is that you're going to use in order to maintain that stiffness. But what are the rules in regarding this? Like, like one top versus 1,000 bottoms? How you going to maintain that? And do you have to climax in every last bottom? Like, how does that even work? And you're supposed to do that in a day. So I'm curious to how all this is going to work out. It's sad that with the whole clout chasing thing, because even one of the videos, Silas said that Drake always says, "Oh, you copying off me. Oh, you trying to be like me. You just copy everything I do," whatever the case was. But Silas went on to say, "If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be doing what you're doing, because I was doing this first and I put you on because you had nothing going for you. You wasn't working. You was being a straight up bum, not doing nothing with your life. And so I put you in a position to like want to get yourself up and going with your career. And then when I helped you with your career in adult cinematography, now you want to sit up here and stab me in the back." So there's where that rivalry comes from. And there's always going to be situations where brothers just there's going to be a sibling rivalry or whatever the case is. But then again, I couldn't imagine when it's like being a twin, because when it's like two of you and you're identical and you want to be able to go off and carve your own path and do your own thing, and you can't do it because it's like, what is my identity outside of this? It's similar to the story we did on Sugar and Spice, the two drag queen twins from Drag Race. So where it's like, yeah, we went on the show together and we were doing TikTok videos and everything together, and we had that success as a dynamic duo. Now, post Drag Race, I want to be able to show that I can do other things on my own without having to be attached to my twin. And I guess that's where these two kind of are in this situation. Only difference is Sugar and Spice ain't out here hunching for a coin. They tucking their dinglings behind them and dressing in drag and doing a hula for a coin. These two are slinging dick for a coin. So good luck to y'all. This was messy. And I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Drake Vaughn and Silas going at it? I did post a couple of the videos where he was addressing the beef and saying, seeing my twin brother talk about me for the 50th time on the Mild Boys podcast. I guess that's the Wild Boys, whatever, because he has been on that show before. Reno Gold's been on it. The old basic queens that make a lot of money because y'all like these twinks out here in these streets. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Hold on, no, I gotta go back up. All three of them released the album in December, and one third won their AOTY Grammy nomination from said album. Oh, okay. Simu Liu calls out Hollywood for lack of Asian representation and is tired of being told he's not bankable. People hate Asians on their screens. Yeah, I'm sick of that because, first of all, tell that to Crazy Rich Asians, which was a hit. Tell that to Shang-Chi, which was a hit. And we still waiting for fucking Shang-Chi, too. So I hate when, yeah, the people are crying for diversity. People are crying for different representation to be seen in movies. And when you see that these movies are bankable, Hollywood will still tell you to your face that you're not bankable. I'm like, are you retarded? Are you slow? Like, we're showing you we're bankable, and here you go with this fake narrative. So I like the fact that, you know what, Simu Liu has been one of the rare breeds that is not afraid to call out, you know, the bullshit. He said, I love Drake. Child, I heard he's a Trump supporter, allegedly. You said Scissors SOS may go down as the biggest album of the 2020s decade. Taylor's Evermore is only for intelligent people. Don't even get me started on that Tide Queen, the Swiftologist. Intelligent people. Child, go play in traffic. And Fine Line by Harry revived his solo career. Yeah, honestly, said Team Silas. McVaughn's over 1 billion. Okay, that's literally what's about to happen. Does a shake come with that hot dog? Mm-mm. Oh, I didn't know Drake Vaughn was a twin. I totally forgot that he was a twin because I was like, I remember hearing stories. Um, you said you learn something new every day. Twin rivalry OF site sounds much better. But they had the Baconator twins. When I think of Baconator, I think of, oh my God, what's that place that sells Baconators? Oh my God, why did the damn name just escape me? Um, y'all probably know what I'm talking about, but I've eaten quite a few Baconators. The, I guess they're fast food. No, not Wendy's. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Um, Wait, oh, actually, it is Wendy's. Well, no, that's not where I got the Baconator thing from because it was why the fuck is Target popping up? Well, yeah, Wendy's do make bacon. No, but there's another one that makes Baconators too. Besides Wendy's, they said no other restaurant. They don't. Why did I think Baconator came from another restaurant? I don't know why I can't think of it. Watch it come to me. Oh, I know what it is. It's not Baconator. It's Baconzilla. I was thinking so. Baconator is from Wendy's. So I was like, I was thinking Baconzilla. But anyway, so yeah, it was because Hollywood doesn't want BIPOC. Well, yeah, BIPOC to further compete with YT actors. Yeah, they hate the fact that, like, when you hear Pharrell talk about you want to be hired because you're the best or because you're black, it's like, as people of color, we know we're the best. We always have to show up. People work twice as hard and be twice as faster than our contemporaries to show that we're capable. But that's not enough. We still get passed over because white people, not all, some white people have been taught that mediocrity gets them far in life and that they should be given, based off their privilege, opportunities. It's like, no, you need to work for that shit. So, but apparently that's not how the world works. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some, our final topic. And let's talk about RuPaul. So apparently RuPaul, if y'all been wondering, RuPaul's regular, and it's funny because this story came out literally as I was in the middle of doing this show yesterday. So I'm like, damn, this would have worked really good with me interlinking this with the story that I did yesterday. regarding Drag Race. What was the story that I did? It's like funny enough, I did a Drag Race story to get yesterday, and I'm drawing a damn blank. I tell you, I do so much stuff on this show. I can't remember whether I'm coming or going with these. Oh, it was the RuPaul Jeffrey Epstein story. That's what it was. So anyway, yeah, there's a RuPaul's Drag Race movie that is coming into theaters in 2026, and they revealed the official title of the film. So Adam Shankman's camp action comedy starring RuPaul Charles has been called Stop That Train ahead of a North American theatrical release set for May 29th, 2026 by Bleecker Street. The drag queen disaster movie draws on the RuPaul's Drag Race universe through franchise producer World of Wonder and also stars Ginger Minj, Juju B, Brooklyn Heights, Latrice Royale, Marsha 3 times, Monet Exchange, and Simone K. So, what is the movie about, you ask? Well, duh, that's why I'm here to tell you. So, the Bleecker Street earlier nabbed the North American rights to the comedy feature from director Shankman that centers on a camp drag queens on a chaotic high-speed train journey. Universal Pictures Content Group will handle the international rights to the RuPaul-led feature that has wrap production in Los Angeles. I didn't even know they were filming this movie already. So that was the shock for me. Like, I was like, when I was even thinking, I was like, are they going to start filming this movie or not? But apparently they already been filming it. We just didn't know anything about it. So it's done. So a synopsis from the producer reads, Stop That Train follows best friends Tess, played by Minj, and Didi, played by Jujubee, train stewardesses who trade their dreary ships on the stank rail for the glitzy Glamazonian Express. When a catastrophic storm Gonza threatens to derail the high-speed train, the duo joins forces with the snobby first-class attendants and President Gagwell, played by RuPaul, to save the day in this wild ride of camp and comedy. Well, I just hope that this movie is funnier than them stupid ass movie thingies that y'all be doing on the show. Because I hate the acting challenges on RuPaul's Drag Race as of late. It is not funny. It's more annoying than anything. Even I feel like the worst one I've seen so far was the one they just did with UK, and that's saying a lot because there's been some stinkers. So Lynn Heights, Marsha, excuse me, 3 times, and Simone play first class train attendants in the theatrical film that expands the storytelling universe for the long running MTV Drag Queen competition series. Saying, quote, I had the greatest time shooting Stop That Train with some of the most hilarious and game people out there, and we can't wait to bring it to an audience nationwide next May, Shankman said in a statement. I know I've needed to laugh now more than ever, and if you're not howling during this one, I'm pretty sure you made of coal and possibly a descendant of the Grinch family. Now, Connor Wright and Christina Friel penned the script for the action comedy. Unapologetic Projects is financing and executive producing the project, with Fenton Bailey, Randy Barbato, Tom Campbell, RuPaul Charles, and Shankman sharing the producer credits. So, and I did see the video that they posted on YouTube from, I believe, the production company that's behind it, Bleecker Street. They posted it on their YouTube channel, and it's just Adam Shankman slamming down the slate, and it basically says stop that train" on it. When I heard "Stop That Train," I was thinking "Stopping My Mama Shoot" with Estelle Getty and Sylvester Stallone. So I was thinking it was going to be in that context, or "Throw Mama from the Train." So maybe it'll have vibes of that. But this is going to be silly. It's going to be stupid. Now, am I going to go see this movie? Probably, because I have a list. But I don't know if there's necessarily an audience that is going to go out and see this RuPaul's Drag Race movie on a big screen. But we'll see, because there's a lot of people out here that love the film. I'm sure it's probably going to be PG-13 so they can reach a wider audience. So I think all the big Drag Race fans, people love the franchise. The show is a global phenomenon. So I could definitely see it'll be some sort of successful. I do wonder what the budget for this movie is. That's what I'm curious about. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys for now, and I'll definitely keep you abreast of the story as it develops, including when we're gonna find out, which has to be soon, because I told y'all recently the red carpet or blue carpet, whatever carpet they decide to choose, premiere for RuPaul's Drag Race season 18 is on December 9th. So I am curious. Wait, hold on, I need to find out if I'm working. So December 9th. Which is wait, that's a Tuesday. Oh, bitch, I'm free, so I'm gonna try to get up in that. Um, so yeah, December 9th is when they're supposed to be doing the drag race premiere and all this other stuff. So we should be finding out relatively soon. I would say by next week after Thanksgiving, where we should be meeting the new queens. That's going to be sashaying into the workroom for the 18th time. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you excited for this news regarding that we're getting a new drag race feature film on the big screen? Will y'all be there opening night to check out this movie, or is it like you're so drag race out you could care less whether or not this movie does what it does? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I do remember the Peters twins. There's always also been a thing with these with the gays, especially like in porn, which I've always found relatively weird when they do twins in films and then they make them do things with each other. I'm like, I don't like the incest stuff. He says some, baby, it's the majority. Democrats are close to flipping the House of Representatives before midterms due to all these special elections. Well, congratulations. Said Drag Race on the has. Oh yeah, this is my Drag Race on the Epstein files. I was told my season 7 of American Drag Race. By the way, I didn't respond when you asked because I was watching the one TV show, that one TV show from the early 2000s. Oh, because you was watching the Gilmore Girls while you. We know RuPaul is gay. And we were talking about why do people want to watch these weirdos? First of all, being gay, you're not a weirdo. So I don't know where that is coming from. If you don't like it, then don't watch it. So since you find gays to be weird, you could be banned from the channel, which I just did. So poof, be gone, bitch. Now, as for this drag race film, I'll pass and become a pretentious cinephile to avoid watching it. The holiday special they released a couple of years back was so boring and hard to get through. I didn't even watch it. And that's the thing too, is that $3 million. Child. Well, good luck trying to make that shit back. Cause yeah, I could definitely see the cheap campiness of it, but RuPaul's level of funny, I'm like, I don't get it. Cause I don't think that's funny. Now my level of funny is more or less his former roommate, Lady Bunny, who I'm friends with. So Lady Bunny, I find, that kind of humor to be funny. RuPaul likes that dumb, silly shit. I'm like, why are you laughing? Even that recent acting challenge, you already know they was putting them laugh tracks and stuff up in there because none of this stuff that I was watching was funny at all. The first Hurricane Bianca was funny. The second one I didn't like. Yeah, the first one was good. I like Bianca Del Rio. First of all, they probably should have brought her in to write the jokes in it. If Drag Race were to get canceled tomorrow, I would not care. All Stars 10 really just stabbed a dagger in my heart for the whole show. Well, look, if I feel like if they were to create other iterations of drag for us to watch on TV, I wouldn't care as much. And then again, I feel like I would just go back and watch all the old episodes. Like that's where I feel like I would be at. Like I would just watch all the old episodes. So that's so that's where I would be with that. All right, y'all. So now we are officially at the end of the show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you have not, one last time I ask, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button if you like what you see and all that good stuff. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Like Jennifer Lopez with her love, you hitting that subscribe button and the like button don't cost a thing. It's free. And if it's free, it's for me. So yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow with a brand new episode of the show. So definitely look out for that. We should have a whole new slate of mess and hot topics to get into. Want to thank you all for your continued support and tuning in and watching this show and leaving the comments and all that good stuff. Hold on, you said I think RuPaul is going to try to get to season 20. You mean like Tyra Banks with America's Next Top Model? Oh, he said that's come on, Bugs Bunny. You want to know something? But if they do get to the opportunity of like this is such a global phenomenon, I don't see RuPaul's Drag Race leaving. or Drag Race leaving, I should say, then pass the baton down to somebody who wants to continue the show. And Ru can just retire and make money as an executive producer. You can get an executive producer credit and still get a coin. If you don't want to do it anymore, if your heart's not into it, I would love to do a reality competition series that I could do for like 15, 16, 20 years, even more, as long as I got it within me to keep it exciting, and many iterations of spin-offs where I could just, in other countries. The more coin, the better. So yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.